Good morning, Daybreak watchers. We're going to get going in about 25 seconds here.
Civic Media Radio Network.
This is Jeff Santos. From corporate greed to government corruption, social justice to economic inequality, we tell it like it is. No fluff, just facts. Join me weekdays from 2 to 5 on the Jeff Santos Show.
Good morning!
Morning!
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. We've talked the whole night through.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
This is where Wisconsin wakes up. It's Daybreak with Brian Noonan and Jamie Martinson. Here are your hosts, Brian and Jamie.
Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us on this Friday. We finally made it to the end of another work week, 6:06 right now, and if you are in the great state of Wisconsin, boy, oh boy, hold down your hat, because it is windy today, and we have a whole lot of snow coming in parts as well.
Yeah, this is insane. It is windy throughout the entire region, and Jamie, you said there were things flying about on your drive in.
Yeah.
Debris and fences and animals?
Yeah. No animals, luckily, this morning. But on my way in, from my 15, 20-minute commute, a couple of metal garbage cans that had been emptied and flew into the middle of main roadways. And then, of course, I'm here in Madison. So if you're in Madison, you know the beautiful Breeze Stevens Stadium, and they're doing a little construction work over there. Some of that chain link fence that, they put up for temporary to keep people out. There were panels of it that had just decided to make its way into the middle of the road. So the fine Madison Police Department was out there making sure everybody got where they needed to be safely. But take it easy if you're out there, because I can't imagine having a high-profile vehicle on these roads today. My goodness.
No, and I love to when the weather monkeys always tell us, and be sure to secure your trash cans and outdoor furniture. All right, I guess I'll do that. I don't remember being woken up by wind in recent memory, and that was this morning as the windows. I have an old house, and the windows rattle. And today I was like, they might rattle right out of the frames. This could be something.
New, it's not going to matter today with these winds. You're probably going to have some rattly windows because the wind is pretty relentless. And we're going to actually talk with a meteorologist later on this morning. After around 7:30, Mace Michaels from Severe Studios will join us, and he's going to give us a little update and a little outlook as to what we can expect across the state over the weekend.
Good weekend to download that Civic Media app, Jamie.
Yes.
Keep it with you wherever you go, just in case there's any sort of weather emergency. You go to Google's, anywhere you get apps.
Yes.
Apple Store, whatever you do. It's I don't know. It's got some thing. I'm not going to ask Parker about it. He doesn't like to help me out and give me information. But you know where to get apps, don't you? Sure, it's free. Download it. Have it with you. You can listen to us. You can listen to any of the Civic stations. And you can also keep up to date with any weather emergencies that may or may not come.
And that app will come in handy on Monday, because you're going to have a chance to win with our multi-state text-to-win contest. And you can only enter through the app. Cash prizes, daily cash prizes, I should say, and then a big grand prize. So the app will come in handy for that as well. But we have a lot of news to get to.
Yeah, so let's get to, as we've started since the war began, some headlines from Iran. 4 U.S. service members were killed when a refueling aircraft went down in Iraq. The U.S. military said the incident was, quote, not due to hostile fire or friendly fire, end quote, but involved a second U.S. tanker. So 4 more U.S. service people killed in a war that we don't know why we're there.
Or that we don't know when it's going to end either, according to this administration. Also in headlines this morning, explosions have rocked Tehran, according to state media, where large crowds are gathering to mark Al-Quds Day. That's an annual international rally in support of Palestinians. Israel had warned that it would target sites in Iran's capital.
Israel also said its fighter jets struck 200 targets in Iran. A strike in northern Israel damaged buildings. Gulf states have also been repelling attacks. 2 foreigners were killed in Oman, and explosions were heard in Dubai.
Amid severely limited communication and internet access in Iran, some residents have received a text message purporting to be from the Revolutionary Guards telling them Iran is winning the war. Funny, that's the same thing our president is telling us.
Everybody's winning. I don't know how everybody can be winning, but they're all winning. And finally, Goldman Sachs has forecast 20% higher oil prices for 2026. The war could also cause supply crisis for helium, which is a crucial chip-making material, and for fertilizers, which is horrible news for everybody in our rural communities, the farmers, the agricultural business. We are actually going to talk to the policy director from AAA later on in the program to talk about how bad it could get with gas prices. You know, if you've been at the pump, man, it's bad business.
It's bad business at the pump. It's bad business at the airport. So we'll get a little insight into all of the things travel, because this is a prime time of year. There's a lot of families getting ready for spring break. There's a lot of students getting ready for spring break. And then, of course, people looking ahead to those summer vacations where you have to decide, is a road trip cheaper or is it cheaper to fly? Well, this year, take your pick.
Yeah, because it used to be almost a no-brainer. Go, I'll drive it. I'm going to save a lot of money. But now with fuel costs for your car and fuel costs for the plane, maybe you just have a staycation.
You know,
which is the worst kind of vacation, but it's still.
I actually foresee a lot of people taking that route because I think this year, with and then you've got the soaring prices at the grocery stores and in the utility bills. I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to have to make those decisions this year for their families.
Well, yesterday was another horrible day of violence here in the U.S. First was in Michigan, West Bloomfield Township. You probably heard this. A gunman rammed a truck into a synagogue before opening fire. That was yesterday afternoon. The attack happened just before 1 o'clock at Temple Israel, located on Walnut Lake Road in West Bloomfield. Authorities say the suspect drove his truck through the synagogue's front door and began shooting. And I'm always amazed, horribly amazed at these kind of attacks. I don't
understand them.
It's horrible. And this is, when you're targeting I don't understand the random ones. I don't understand these, because this is definitely you have to assume it's anti-Semitism. It is against a synagogue, a Jewish place of worship, and all the talk about Israel, not only from the attacks on the Gaza Strip from the last couple of years, to now the rumor that they were the ones who cajoled Trump into going into war.
Yeah.
There's a lot of anti-Israel sentiment running around.
And in this particular case, their investigations are ongoing, but attacks like this are, to me, they're always pointless, they're frightening, and they're completely unwarranted. And honestly, houses of worship should be some of the safest places in any community, where people go to pray, to gather, raise their kids in their faith, support one another.
That's why they become targets, right? Because if you're inclined to do this, you go, well, these people aren't even going to be paying attention. They're going in there, they don't expect anything. So I'm going to get them at their most vulnerable.
What I think is probably most upsetting in cases like this, and this wasn't the only one, and we'll get into that in just a moment, but I think in cases like this, the fact that we are becoming so immune and deaf to them in this country that, I mean, out of everything that was happening yesterday, these should have been major news stories. This story in Detroit, the one at Old Dominion, which we'll give you some information about in just a moment. But we've become so deaf to what is actually happening in this country between the school shootings and attacks like this at places of worship that it's just a blip on our everyday radar. And these attacks should never be acceptable. No. The gunman in Detroit exchanged gunfire with the synagogue security guards. They were already on site. Security personnel ultimately shot and killed the gunman, preventing any further harm. Now, at the time of this attack, there were about 140 children, staff, and congregants inside the building, including students who were attending the synagogue school. Now, officials did confirm, Brian, that all children and staff were accounted for. Good. They were safe. No students were injured. The synagogue immediately went into lockdown, though, and nearby schools and houses of worship were also told to shelter in place while police responded. Obviously, you can imagine there was a large police presence, FBI, ATF, all on the scene, SWAT teams from around the state as as well. So you can imagine that there was a large presence of police. But authorities initially searched the area to determine whether the attacker had any accomplices. Parents, there's photos from the scene. Obviously, in any sort of case, it's always watching that devastation of the parents and them running to this scene. I hate to say it because we have become so deaf to these instances, but there are some pretty iconic photos in this world that exist because of these types of attacks, of watching parents running to just find their children. And I hate seeing them every single time.
Yeah, it never gets easy, and it shouldn't get easy. And now we turn our attention to Norfolk, Virginia, Old Dominion University. The FBI is investigating a shooting there as an act of terrorism because the suspect was 36-year-old Mohammed Baylor Jallo, a former Virginia National Guardsman. He pled guilty in 2016 for attempting to provide material support to ISIS. He served prison time, then he was released in 2024. Still access to a weaponry, obviously. So this one has a much more terrorist feel. We don't know. Terrorism is one of those words that you can put to a lot of things. I believe that the attack in Michigan, was also terrorism, but this one has a lot of Middle Eastern terrorist connections.
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, in this particular case at Old Dominion, an ROTC instructor was killed in the shooting, and 2 ROTC students were also critically injured and taken to a local hospital. Now, the students were basically heroes yesterday, these ROTC students, because they, the ones in the room, subdued the gunman. They prevented further loss of life, and the gunman actually died during the incident. Police arrived within about 4 minutes of the first 911 calls, which is incredibly fast timing.
Yeah.
And the situation was contained very, very quickly. So kudos to the police, kudos to those students as well.
Yeah, I was thinking back like 30 seconds ago to the story out of Michigan, and how you said security personnel were already on site, and it's a sad state of affairs when a house of worship has to have security on site. We used to live about a half mile from a synagogue, and since those October attacks a couple of years ago, there was always a police car parked out front. There was always an armed guard at the door. And I can't, you you go to church normally, you go to synagogue, you go to temple, you go to your mosque. You shouldn't have to say, oh, here's the armed security that's keeping me safe. But there's a lot of shoulds going around, not a lot of reality, just a lot of us thinking about the way things should be. And then on the other side, they're thinking about the way things should be, but it's the antithesis of our desires. So.
Right. I think the one thing that we could all agree on, though, is that targeting people because of who they are, what they believe, where they worship, it has no place in any of our communities.
But I mean, that's what all violence is. You're targeting someone. You're targeting someone either weaker or different, or you have something you think you can gain from attacking them. So it's a systematic, intrinsic problem in this country. We love violence in this country.
We do.
Look at the best. And I'm as guilty of this as anybody else. I love a good action movie. I love a good shoot 'em up. I love the old West mentality and all of that until, it leaves the screen. In books, on TV, that's all great. But then when it comes to the streets for real, you're like, oh, no, this is not, you weren't supposed to take that literally.
Right. And I think with what we see in this country, the one thing that I hope we never do is normalize it, because none of this is normal. Guns in schools, attacking synagogues, none of that is normal. Nothing about that is normal, honestly. It's 6:19 right now, and Brian, coming up, we have a good question. Kohl's is going to lower some prices. Is it considered good marketing? Is it considered, low income? We'll talk about that. It's 6:19. I'm Jamie Martinson. This is Daybreak.
And this is the Civic Media Network.
Good morning to everybody listening on the live stream. Alicia chimes in.
Streamers.
on YouTube and says lots of O's. Good morning. Good morning to you too.
Good morning.
I feel like we got to do a Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Good morning Vietnam there, right?
Good morning, Civic Media.
Morning, Vietnam.
Have you seen that movie, Parker?
I have.
Oh,
Oh, wow. Thought you just knew the catchphrase.
No, actually, I have seen that one. It's been a while since I've seen it. I don't remember much of it.
it's a good
Okay.
movie.
I do remember liking it very much, yes.
It's very much a Robin Williams classic. I think it was just a very different role for him, right? Because he was able to be Robin Williams and he was able to be funny, but it was on a lower level, a lower scale. That's why I think I liked Mrs. Doubtfire as well. Because he was really underrated as far as what he could do. Speaking of which, have you seen all of the grossness coming out about Gavin Newsom?
What, that he can't read?
That he can't read, and then there were then there was like something about his, because I try not to dabble in that stuff because I think it's just stupid. But then about his mental health, and now the GOP is saying that he's not fit to run anything. Well, of course, because he might be a front runner, so we're starting targeting for him early. So here we are already with the gross, the ugly. Maybe concentrate on a war.
The easiest thing to do, and Trump won't do it. You do so well on these cognitive tests. Sit down across from these people. I'd bet anything that either Pritzker or Newsom or anybody running against them would sit down and take these tests. You think I'm mentally deficient? All right, come on, Orangey. Let's sit down and take care of business. Let's do it.
But
no,
he could pick out the elephant on the test.
Yeah, well, all he has to do is look in the mirror. Good morning. That was a slam.
Right,
I enrage,
15
not
seconds.
engage.
Across the state of Wisconsin, Daybreak with Brian and Jamie is back.
6:22 right now. Thank you so much for joining us. Happy Friday. We hope you're having a great start to the day. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And I'm Brian Noonan. Hey, when you go shopping, do you want to be considered low income? No matter how much money you actually make. 855-75-CIVIC, 855-752-4842. Kohl's is coming out with a new marketing strategy, and I, for one, I am a bit offended as a person who shop at Kohl's. This is. I'm like, wait a minute. I don't need to. I'm not bougie by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
I don't need to. I don't always need name brands and that kind of stuff. I look for value like everybody else, I think. But Kohl's is focusing on its core customers, which it states. This is a quote: middle to low income customers. In an interview with the Journal Sentinel, Kohl's CEO Michael Bender said the company is focused on customers in those income levels and how they respond to the company's changes. I never considered Kohl's high end, but
no.
I consider them quality and utilitarian and a good value. But that doesn't mean I want to be thought of as. And listen, I may in fact be low income. You don't know, but I don't want to be considered low income.
Well, because now every time you shop there, you're going to be like, wait, am I actually low?
Am I low income?
Here's the one thing I will say.
Should I never buy anything on sale just to prove that I'm not low income?
Right.
I would like to pay double for this towel, please.
Just to prove you
Okay,
a
sir,
point.
but well.
What I do appreciate, though, is that maybe not calling all of your customers lower to middle income is probably maybe not the way I would have went.
Yes.
However, what I can appreciate is the fact that they are making an effort to make sure that they have quality items, and that's essentially what their CEO is saying, that they want to make sure we have quality items that we can all afford, especially right now when the economy is so up and down. And so I can appreciate that part of it. I feel like there was a better way to maybe roll this out.
It's all optics. It's all the strategy of what you say. I agree with. I think I don't know who would say, nope, I want lesser quality items. I
Right.
want them to cost
Or more
more, and I want to
expensive.
have to replace them every other week.
Right. No,
Nobody's going to
nobody's
say
saying
that.
that.
So I agree with you, Jamie. It's a good plan.
Mm-hmm. But,
But
marketing is important.
Marketing is everything.
Marketing
That's why
is-
they're, yes.
This
That's
is
why we yell about marketing this show, because
Right.
it's low income.
And honestly, you're not lying. There are lots of times when, this is why a lot of companies don't allow their CEO to make these public statements, and they have people who do it in place of the CEO for
Right.
reasons just like this. Now,
We don't want.
essentially-
We love the poors. I hope the poors will come and shop at Kohl's with their last 3 cents. We're going to it's high quality, but
Yes.
you people who can't really afford to go to Macy's, you just
Right.
come on in here.
Really, at this point, I feel like we're all lower to middle income.
Yes.
So, that's the other thing. Who are you catering to? Because we're all in the same boat right now, especially with what is happening in the economy. Now,
I know a lot of
financially-
people who make a lot more money than I do that shop at Kohl's.
Oh, of course. That's why they
The
continue
1%
to
of the
have their money.
1%.
They're not splurging, right? They're doing the thrifty fiscal thing. Financially, though, Kohl's has reported $125 million in profit in this final quarter, nearly 3 times what it earned during the same time just 2 years ago. However, overall sales still declined, showing the company is facing challenges in the retail market. And Bender, the CEO, of course, described the company's recovery as progressive improvement, noting that some of these retail turnarounds take time and can't happen overnight. Now, there is another layer to this story, though, too, Brian, because
Okay.
Kohl's is one of several Wisconsin companies that's currently suing the Trump administration over tariffs. Because, of course, those tariffs increase the cost of importing a lot of goods, including the clothing, the shoes, whatever you're buying, your home goods at Kohl's, and then those costs usually end up getting passed on to the consumer. So when you hear Kohl's talking about customers trying to stretch their dollars, that part might not just be marketing language. That essentially could be them trying to keep down their costs a little bit,
Yeah,
too,
exactly.
right?
And again, it bears repeating just
Marketing.
because people think it's messaging. What do you want? It's you roll out new Coke and it
Yes.
bombs. You roll out. You have to have. Yeah, that's right, Parker. I went all the way back to new Coke.
I'll
gonna-
tell you later.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, there's a story.
There's a story.
There's a
No,
story,
you tell us
okay?
now. What's the story? You can't tease like
Nah,
that.
We can. I've been.
Oh,
teased
show within
over-
a show. Secret
Oh,
show.
yeah.
This is when
Okay,
you go to
all
the
right.
YouTube
Yeah,
stream and
there
you
you
get
go.
to hear the story on the secret show. Sponsored by no one yet. Fill in the blank here.
My new Coke.
Maybe Kohl's. 'Cause
Or new Coke that doesn't exist
Coke.
anymore. That would be about how we roll here at Civic Media. We'll get you a
Yeah.
sponsor that doesn't even exist. Anyway, go
is
ahead.
the secret show focused at lower and middle income people too? And this is for the high end consumer? Is that what we're
Really? You would consider any of this to be for a high-end consumer? Really?
I think mentally high end, Jamie. I don't care
Okay,
what a
all
person
right.
has in their wallet. I
don't
care
care
about
either.
the substance of their heart, Jamie.
All right,
Unlike
there we
you,
go.
I'm not always looking for the bottom line.
I'm just saying, I'm not a bottom line person. I'm just saying, would you consider any of this to be high class around here?
Well, listen, as one of the suits, I'm not going to fall into your trap. I get it. I'm trying to think. Anytime I need like tablecloths
Sure.
or
Towels.
that's a play. And Kohl's always has really good deals on
Sheets.
holiday things.
Oh, yeah.
And I've bought clothes there.
Of course.
We've bought all kinds of stuff there. But now I'm going to feel dirty. I'm going to have to do it all online, so I don't have to go in because I don't want to feel tainted. And again, that's just me being a little facetious. So relax, and realizing that everybody shops there. So the CEO should have stayed in the boardroom. I'm sure Kohl's has a brilliant marketing and advertising department.
Of course.
So like you said, sometimes even the boss has to just zip it for a little bit and let the pros stay in your lane, boss.
That's right.
We'll handle talking to the poors.
Get a spokesperson. It's fine. It's 6:29 right now. You're listening to Daybreak. I am Jamie Martin.
And I'm Brian Noonan. ICE rearrests a woman in Sheboygan Falls. Why? Well, we'll tell you after the news here on the Civic Media Network.
Okay.
All right, Parker, spill.
All right, what's your story?
Pat did like a whole segment with me about not knowing what New Coke was.
Oh, God.
And I don't know what year New Coke was. I believe in the 80s.
Well, yeah, you weren't even a thought process
I
in
was
the
gonna
80s.
say.
Yes, exactly. And the way that he was framing it was making me feel like this was something that I maybe should have known about.
No.
No.
There's no way you would have known
Unless you
about
lived
this.
through it, you wouldn't know about
Yeah,
it.
it was
And-
20 years before me.
1985 was
Okay,
when New Coke
yeah.
rolled out.
See,
I barely remember New Coke.
And now I know that he was joking. However, he equated me not knowing about it to him not knowing about World War II.
What?
He's like, that's how big of a pop culture thing this was.
It was a huge pop culture.
for about a week and a half.
I was
Or
born
with
in
me, you bring it back 40 years later. That's the difference.
As did he.
I was born in 1978. I barely remember the New Coke versus Old Coke debate.
Yeah, I had no expectations of you knowing that. There's no reason you should have.
No.
Well,
That's what sets
now
Pat
you
and I
know.
apart.
I know.
Oh,
No,
my
there's
goodness.
wow.
This Sheboygan Falls story that we're going to talk about for anybody on the live stream is actually pretty bonkers. It's right up there with the story we talked about yesterday from the woman in Chicago who ended up in Dodge County in the middle
Yeah.
of nowhere.
Here's what I'm finding out. I'm starting to realize nothing is bonkers anymore. Nothing is off limits. There's no story too bizarre. There's no nothing that really is going to
Right.
surprise me anymore. It can make
No.
me mad, but I'm not surprised that it's happening.
Agreed. I hate that it's happening. I don't like any of it.
Yeah,
But nobody cares what I want.
me either. Me either. I have my whiskey all lined up, so I'm going to spend my Friday afternoon.
Oh,
Enjoy
taste
some
testing
whiskey.
with the
Taste
Forgot
wind.
about
testing.
that. I thought just cuz.
Thankfully,
Well-
yesterday I went out and because it was really sunny, so I did some exterior B-roll yesterday.
Oh,
so
nice.
sent
Well,
it
yeah,
to
today
Frank.
your phone would have just blown right out of your
Yeah.
hand today.
Yeah, I was going to start it on standing on the deck. I may have to rethink that opening shot.
Yes, you may.
I just thought, oh, it'd be nice outside, but
Oh,
not today.
it's gross out.
And I'm not even going to leave it out.
It is. Wow, I need to close some tabs this morning. Here we go. It's way too many things open.
So we changed how we're doing like what podcasts, which channels are on the podcast. So I've had to change where I do music and where I do rejoiners and stuff.
Oh.
And I literally, it feels like I'm trying to write with my left hand.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
because you get in such a habit.
Yes.
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 I get it.
I am so internally confused with how to do the whole sound thing right now.
Yeah, and a lot of board op is muscle memory.
So memory.
Yes.
Yes.
You don't even have to think. You just know bang, 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 bang.
Yeah. No, this is like,
May I ask
This
why
is
we
behind
made
the
this
scenes
change?
radio tutorial brought to you by Civic Media.
Casper told me it was coming, and I just
Yeah.
told him, I said, just handle it.
It was just Zomer's Dom and I uniforming,
Got
making
it.
it more uniform, and I guess I was the odd one out. So,
Oh no.
yeah.
I get it. Yeah, because Casper's like, they're just as a heads up, he's like, the tech producers are changing some things on the board. And I said, okay. I said, handle it. I said, I trust you and Zomers and Dom and Parker. I said, handle it. He's
As
like,
lo-
okay.
Yeah, it shouldn't, unless I accidentally play a rejoiner and then play the music, which is very possible.
Oh well.
You shouldn't know.
That's
But now
funny.
we're going to be hyper aware. We're going to be
Yes,
listening
you
for
are.
every little thing.
That's funny.
I
No,
used to
that's-
love running my own. I missed when even when they built the new studios at TMJ, they took the boards away and we just had
Oh.
the little on and off. I
Yeah.
miss running the board. I loved
I
it.
always liked running my own boards. I
'Cause
never
I-
actually worked anywhere where I didn't run my own boards.
I hate I like the time. In my head I know when I want to end it, what line I want to end on, what I want to do. I
got
like that sound.
Yes.
10 seconds here.
And to have that taken away, it's like, oh, now I'm used to it, I guess.
From Lake Superior to Lake Michigan, this is Wisconsin's Morning Conversation. Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
6:35 right now. Speaking of Lake Superior to Lake Michigan and all points in between, you're probably going to see some snow and definitely some high winds over the next couple of days. Roger from Stevens Point chiming in over on the text line this morning, Brian. I almost did my Red Fox impression last night after seeing the 12 to 18-inch snow forecast saying, this is the big one. It's the biggest one I ever had. Yes, of
That's
course.
what she said. Good morning.
Yeah, we're gonna see some weather through the region over the weekend, and many parts of the state going to get several inches of snow. We're actually going to have a meteorologist, Mace Michaels, joining us around 7:30 this morning to talk about that and give us a little bit of a weekend outlook. In the meantime, don't forget on Monday, Brian, a chance to win. We're very excited. It's
daily monetary prizes, one big grand prize. It's a multi-state text to win contest. But Jamie, here's the thing: you can't text from your phone.
Nope. Well,
where do you have to go?
But you got to have
Well,
the
you can, I
special
guess.
app in
The
order
app.
to use your phone. That's right. Go to your Google store, your Apple store. If you haven't already downloaded that app, we would love for you to grab that. Have it all ready to go, because the only way that you can qualify for daily cash prizes and a grand prize is by texting through the Civic Media app. Plus, you get to hang out with us a little bit more, and you get to check out all of our music stations across the state and region as well. So please do that. And while you're at it, then we'd like you to go over to, Facebook or Instagram and give our show a like, because you can follow along with all of our shenanigans over there.
Yeah, just a sneak peek. A couple big social videos coming out. Jamie, you're releasing one tomorrow, right?
Maybe even later today.
Maybe later today.
Put Frank in charge of that.
Talk to Frank, folks. If you want to hear our videos, talk to Frank.
That's right. I got to do a little taste testing of some
Nice.
pies because, Pie Day happens to be tomorrow. And here's the thing. I was an English major. You're not getting me to celebrate any mathematical equation anytime soon. So I wanted to celebrate.
I hear pie. I don't spell pie. I don't see
Right?
pie. I eat pie.
I wanted to celebrate something I know. Fruit and cream in the middle of a buttery crust. That's what I know when it comes to pie. So that's what I celebrate.
Yeah, so we will be adding different things and trying to. So, go there if you're a social media person, Facebook, Instagram, and then don't forget to tell your friends they can watch every morning on YouTube as well. Like the people who are Alicia's with us every morning on YouTube.
I love having
and there's
Alicia
a couple
along.
other
Thank you.
there's a couple other people who are here every morning. We appreciate that. Tell your friends. We're not Coles. We welcome low income, high income, no income, derelicts, reprobates. Everybody's welcome.
You might
Scholars.
not get a lot of high class. You might not get high class here, but you'll get a lot of other stuff too, and we'll have some fun along the way. So
Listen,
it's good.
Class is just a word. Doesn't really mean anything. Let's look at Sheboygan Falls because there's been a lot of ICE activity up that way, and ICE officers arrested a Sheboygan Falls woman during a routine immigration check this week, even though an immigration judge had previously canceled her deportation order. Elvira Benitez is her name. She's 50 years old. She recently began the process of applying for a green card after a judge ruled she could remain in the United States. But does that matter to ICE? No, because she's a brown woman, and she must be illegal, even with paperwork that says she's not, so we're going to rearrest her. And, boy, just another feather in ICE's cap, Jamie.
It is, and at some point, it's stories like this that make it really hard to not question what is happening in our immigration system right now. I mean, we see it play out in our own eyes, right? But when you look at this case, it feels like a deeply flawed system, and it raises the question of whether. I mean, I think we can answer that. People are being targeted, not because they're dangerous, not because they've committed crimes, but because the system knows that they're easy to find. I mean, people are told to go follow the rules and to go through the immigration process the right way so that they can become a citizen in this country. And this woman essentially did. And they go to their check-ins, they file their paperwork, Brian. They try to get their green card, they try to get legal residency, and then ICE still targets them anyway and tries to deport them. It's a no-win situation.
Listen. I'll mansplain it to you, little lady.
Okay, please
They
do.
came in illegally in the first place, so I don't care now if they're doing it the right way. They should have done it the right way at first, because now they're doing it the backwards way, and backwards don't play here in the U.S. of A.
I guess not. I guess not. But Elvira's immigration case started last year after she accidentally crossed into Canada during a family road trip in Michigan that triggered
Oops.
her detention by immigration authorities. So she spent 6 months in ICE custody in 2025 before the immigration judge renewed her case. Then she fled an abusive home from in Mexico as a teenager, and she's lived in the United States without legal status for about 35 years. The immigration judge actually canceled her deportation order partly because her detention had caused hardships for her children, including her younger kids who struggled while mom was in custody. We hear
You
this
think?
a lot, right?
Yeah.
Now, during that time, her 2 adult daughters, who are U.S. citizens, stepped in to care for the younger siblings. And even after the judge allowed her to pursue legal residency, the Department of Homeland Security delayed the required background check for more than a month, which then prolonged this detention before she was actually released in December. So that's how we get to right now, anyway.
Okay.
I mean, the federal government appealed the judge's decision following that, which paused the process then for her green card. And despite that appeal, Elvira continued following all the immigration rules. She attended her mandatory supervision appointments with the federal officials and then was arrested again Tuesday during one of the required check-ins at the Department of Homeland Security office in Milwaukee.
So she went to her check-in like she's supposed to?
Yes.
Other than her name inspiring one of the most annoying songs in music history.
But so fun to sing at a bar.
I know, but it doesn't sound like she is not only not the worst of the worst, not even close to being in the running for anywhere on the list of the worst.
No.
So why are we wasting so much taxpayer money on a woman who is in the process of doing what she's supposed to do, and the judge has said she's doing it, leave her alone? What burr is in the saddle of ICE that we have to focus on a 50-year-old woman who is raising her kids in Sheboygan Falls, Wisconsin? What is it about her that it has got her in the crosshairs for all of this? It makes zero sense.
My mind sometimes goes to this. Are they picking on the most vulnerable, the easiest, because it makes them look tough and makes them look like they're adhering
But
to
it
what
doesn't
the
make them
government...
look tough.
Right. I know this, and you know this, and several of our listeners probably know this. But
I hope all our listeners know this. Please, I'm going to give them more credit.
But to this administration, it doesn't matter. If you're deporting somebody who's brown, if you're deporting somebody who's here illegally, they don't care what that looks like. They just want those numbers to continue to increase because they have a mission to get out as many illegal immigrants as absolutely possible, because that is what this president campaigned on.
But aren't you only, isn't everybody who's going through the process technically illegal until you get that green card?
They don't care. They're here illegally, so they want them out. Because at the end of the day, I still don't believe this has anything to do with immigration at all. I believe it fully has everything to do with the color of one's skin.
I'm guessing, and I don't know this, there must be white immigrants, right, who come here and I know for a fact there are a lot of my homeland mates. A lot of Irish people come here under a work visa and then never go back. Now, is that right? No. But they blend in until they open their mouths. They blend in.
Right.
And that's the key, right? Because that's the only difference. If there's a 50-year-old Irish woman who came here 35 years ago to escape whatever she was escaping in Ireland, and she's been working, she's been raising her family, and now she's in the process of getting her green card, and a judge has ruled that you can't deport her, nobody's going after her.
Right. I mean, and here's the thing. As we talk about this story with Elvira, obviously we don't know her personally, but by all accounts, she appears to be someone who has been working, raising her children, and trying to move through the legal process to stay in this country. I mean, an immigration judge even recognized the hardship and basically said, let's start the process. Let's apply for the green card. And I think that's the part that should concern people, because this isn't just a story about one woman in Sheboygan Falls. If someone can be detained while following the system exactly as they were instructed to do by the judges, by attorneys, by this administration, then this is happening in communities all across not only Wisconsin, but this country. Whether it's Sheboygan, whether it's Green Bay, Milwaukee, Wausau, pick a town. You know this is happening all across the country. We see the news headlines, and now it just happens that we're seeing it more in our own home.
Well, it led to that judge being censured in Milwaukee. You can't arrest people when they're doing things the right way, when you're going to your hearing, when you're going to see your immigration officer, when you're going to court. Those are all things that citizens do. And you can't lay in wait for these people unless you have a warrant and proof that this person has committed something so heinous that they have got to go. And then they do have to go.
Right.
But somehow, again, we don't know, Elvira. Giddy up, bapa. But I don't think there's been nothing in any reports that say she was a drug trafficker, she was a killer. No, she was just
sounds like she was a mom who was trying to take care of her kids, who tried to escape a really bad situation many, many years ago. Mark is chiming in over on the text line this morning saying, as I brought it before, it seems to me it is a violation of ex post facto, changing the rules while people are legally in the system, making them illegal. Damn Stephen Miller and Donald Trump. Now, if you want to chime in this morning, we'd love to hear from you. 1-855-752-4842. That's 1-855-75-CIVIC. We always welcome you to be a part of the conversation. Now, Elvira's story isn't over, though, Brian, because after the arrest, ICE transferred her to a detention facility outside of Chicago. Now, it wasn't specified which one.
It's probably Bridgeview, because that's the one.
Yep. Now, her attorney says that she has no criminal record, she has no legal issues, and that the agency was not required to detain her while the appeal is pending. According to ICE data, more than 100 people were arrested at the Milwaukee DHS office in 2025, going through the process just like Elvira. And about 3/4 of those individuals had no criminal history or pending charges. This is happening nationally. Tens of thousands of immigrants were arrested in 2025. About a third of those had no criminal background. Remember, though, we were getting out the worst of the worst.
Worst of the worst.
We were going to get out the bad guys. Now, Elvira's family and attorney argue that this detention separates from her U.S. citizen children. It also raises the question, they say, about whether people can rely on immigration court decisions while their cases are still being appealed.
No.
Under this administration, no.
And talk about the laziest form of law enforcement.
Right?
We're not going to investigate. We're just going to sit outside the immigration office and grab up everybody, because there's a chance they're violating the law, so we might as well just get them there. Mark in Prairie du Sac. Warrants, they it's like the old joke about badges. They don't need no stinking warrants.
No, apparently not.
They don't, and they don't need to investigate. We'll just wait here, and that's why cherry picking in soccer is so frowned upon. And that's why there's the offside rule in hockey, so that this kind of thing can't happen. If it's good enough for sports, it should be good enough for law enforcement.
This is complicated. Immigration is. It's often emotional anyway, but none of these stories make any of this better or worse. This is an administration who has one agenda right now. 6:48 right now. You are listening to Daybreak. I am Jamie Martinson.
Vanity is one of the 7 deadly sins, and Pete Hegseth is definitely trafficking in vanity. A little hubris, too. But we'll get to all of that after this on the Civic Media Network.
Oh, we should go to Aaron's text here in just a moment. He looks like a new texter as well. How many kids does she have? 3. In communities departing her eliminates 4 brown voters.
It's true.
Mm-hmm. We can hit that quickly when we come back. I've only seen, honestly, I was thinking about it when you said it. I think I've read maybe 3 total news stories about immigrants from Europe, like Germany or the Netherlands, that have been detained and then are going through why they were basically going through the same process of trying to get their green card going. But I mean, it far outcries the number of brown and black-skinned people.
Well, didn't Trump at one point say, why can't we get more immigrants from places like Denmark?
Right. Right. I mean, yeah.
Blonde-haired, blue-eyed.
Well, and then you look at what they were doing with the immigrants from the Afrikanas, right?
Mhm.
I mean, they didn't want anybody.
And just sending them wherever. Doesn't
Right.
matter. You don't have to go to your home country. We're just going to send you out. We don't care where you go. You don't have to go home. You just can't stay here.
Do you remember
Out.
early on in the administration, maybe it was last spring or last summer, maybe somebody online remembers this, when he touted bringing over immigrants from Africa,
Mhm.
and then when they got here, they were all Afrikaners. They were like the blue-eyed, blonde hair.
South African.
I'm sorry.
South
Did you come
Africans,
over on
yes.
apartheid airlines? What happened here?
Everybody was like, okay. I remember seeing the photo because they made them all line up like
Yeah.
they were taking their class picture for the day. And I was like, what is happening? But there was obviously there was a theme running through the people
I don't think
that
he thinks Africa means what it means.
Well, and let's be realistic. Again, I don't want to be my tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist, but Elon Musk's family has deep ties to leaving basically, melting pots of countries and then going over to South Africa where they entrench themselves in that Afrikaner type mentality. So, yikes.
Boy. Yeah, I mean, Chicago is a hotbed for Irish immigrants.
Right?
You know?
Yeah, most cities are.
Yeah. Because you can blend. You blend right in.
Yes. And nobody's
Somehow
being that
rural
close-
Wisconsin and somebody with any sort of pigmentation in their skin,
Right.
hey, you ain't from around here, are you?
Right.
Yeah, hey, you been out in the sun there for, I don't know, 30, 40 years? That's a pretty deep tan there, bub.
Right.
Josie. Jose, I'm sorry.
All right, we'll be back in about 15 seconds.
All facts, no fiction. It's Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
6:52 right now. We hope that you're having a great start to your morning. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Jamie Martinson.
I didn't know I'd be happy to hear Nickelback on a Friday morning. And yet here we are. Not mad at it, Parker. Not
You're
mad
welcome.
I love
Look
it.
at these
Thank you.
photographs.
I love
Oh.
it. We do have a text that we want to go to here quickly before we talk about Pete Hegseth and the vanity tour that it is. Aaron chiming in from Madison as we were talking about Elvira. If you joined us last segment, she is a woman in Sheboygan Falls going through the immigration process and now being detained. But he says, how many kids did she have? 3? In communities, departing her eliminates 4 brown voters. It's funny. It's hard to argue with that kind of logic on a Friday morning.
We got to get
Brian.
rid of generational voters. We don't even want them growing up. Then,
Right?
then
Right.
it's
Well,
like
she has
Inigo Montoya.
and she
coming
has
back.
2 adult daughters who are taking care of the younger siblings. So Aaron might be on to something there. If you do want to join the conversation this morning, we'd love to have you. 1-855-752-4842. 1-855-75-CIVIC.
What do you think of Pete Hegseth's photographs? That's the question for this, because Pete's not happy about them. Pistol Pete is, he's used to being on TV. We had to get makeup tents and things for him at the Defense Department,
Yes.
which seems for somebody who rages against wokeness, it seems kind of woke to get all gussied up to go out when you're talking about war and stuff. But that's just me.
But all he is he's only done TV on the weekends. He would know nothing else.
That's right.
I mean-
Weekday TV people don't wear makeup. Only weekend people wear makeup.
I mean, that's what he knows. He knows going into a dressing room, having his makeup done, and then trotting out in front of the cameras. That's what he
Well-
essentially knows.
I know, but now he's the war god. He's the Terminator. He's the Punisher. He's the man who is supposed to be tough and ready to go, but he is really a vain little baby because he and the Defense Department have barred press photographers from briefings because they published photos that Hegseth and his staff deemed, quote unquote, unflattering. Yeah, they saw into your soul, Pete. That was the problem. They saw the darkness and evil that lives within. Oh, that's just me editorializing, folks. Sorry. This story about him banning the photographers is according to two people familiar with the decision, but they had to speak anonymously because they thought they'd be retaliated against. Maybe it's me, and maybe it's because of my total disdain for Pistol Pete that I have to. I no picture of him is flattering, but talk about just a vain, petulant, insecure little baby man, almost as bad as his boss, but at least for the president, they could still take pictures.
They can,
and go. I want you to explain because the part there's a part in here that's going to infuriate me even more.
Okay. Well, I'll let you listen.
No, go ahead. I'm gonna take a sip
here. Okay. So this all stems from the March 2nd briefing that came just days after the very first initial strikes in Iran that killed the Ayatollah, and that which of course took place on February 28th.
Mm-hmm.
It was also the first time that Pete Hegseth had appeared from the briefing room podium since June 26th. So several outlets, including the Associated Press, Reuters, and Getty Images, sent photographers to the briefing from Hegseth and General Dan Kane, who's chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. So after they published these photos, which have obviously a huge reach because they're licensed by publications globally, members of Hegseth's staff told colleagues that they did not like the way that the secretary looked. So aides just decided to shut out photographers from the two subsequent briefings at the Pentagon on March 4th and 10th, according to those two people who know these decisions. Pentagon Press Secretary Kingsley Wilson wrote, quote, "In order to use space in the Pentagon briefing room effectively, we are allowing one representative per news outlet if uncredentialed, excluding pool. Photographs from the briefings are immediately released online for the public and press to use. If that hurts the business model for certain news outlets, then they should consider applying for a Pentagon press credential," unquote, which I know this is where you're going.
That's... How dare you? How dare you mess with somebody's business because your vain influencer of a war god has decided he doesn't like the way he looks? Blame God. He's always talking about God. Right. He's always talking about how this is a holy war. Blame God. God made you look how you are. If you turn and make a dopey face when you're talking about crushing everybody, and listen, I'm not above knowing that there might be an editor who dislikes Pistol Pete and decides that it's time to this picture makes him look like a dork. We're gonna publish this one.
Was his pocket square not straight? Did someone catch him wearing the shoes that the president gave him? I'm not really sure what was happening that made it so unflattering.
Were his white Christian nationalist tattoos showing?
But here's the thing: this is not the first time that Hegseth has sparred with the press since he's become
he's a wannabe tough guy.
Right. In October, hundreds of credentialed Pentagon reporters, if you remember in the Wayback Machine, because again, an eternity since these things happen, turned in their credentials and dozens walked out of the building because they refused to sign some stupid policy prohibiting journalists from soliciting any information that the government did not authorize. Hey,
it was a loyalty pledge.
That's their job. So now all we have in those actual briefings that are coming from the Pentagon are places that are very right-leaning organizations that only verge on news. It's sensationalized news is essentially what they're doing, but it pleases this administration because then nothing bad is being said about the policies, and that's what this literally is.
That's right. We don't investigate. We don't question. We sign our loyalty pledges, and if we don't want to, we'll figure out a way to keep you out. And I'm sure these photographers are going to be able to get press credentials.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're going to be right on that for them.
So if you see unflattering pictures of Pete or the president, be sure to circulate them on social media. I'm sure they'll enjoy that very much.
They'll love that. They'll love it.
That'll be good.
6:59 right now. You are listening to Daybreak. I'm Jamie Martinson.
And I'm Brian Noonan. The White House is taking another step toward fixing their illegal tariffs. We'll see what that means. But we got to roll now. We got to roll now on the Civic Media Network. I'm getting there, Parker.
All right. So we are in break.
You seemed skeptical.
Yeah, you didn't. That didn't seem very confident. We might be in break. So no swearing now because we don't know if the mics are off. We don't really swear anyway. Here. As soon as the show's over. So our interview is happening right after we end the show, right? Allegedly. I'm just talking to myself. Hi, show within a show. Everybody else is gone. I am all by.
No. We had a
alone.
phone call, and we were trying to figure out the best path there, and we didn't want to do it on with everybody listening. So let me.
Oh. This is intriguing. Parker, message me.
There we
Give me the deets.
There we go.
You know I hate to feel left out.
We
Well,
have
look,
somebody
even
who
Frank
has
jumped in.
we have somebody who is trying to report a story that they would like us to talk about, but we've got to get them through the proper channels
Oh, okay.
because they were hoping we were going to do it on the air today, and we will not do that.
Oh,
Got it.
somebody on the news tip line? Do we have a
Sure.
news tip line?
Not right
we
now.
could call it that if somebody calls it a news tip.
Sure.
So it's a
Well, we
news
have
tip
a
line.
it is a news tip line, so I'm going to give him Parker the proper channels here, and he just wanted to talk about
Nice.
it before anybody heard.
Yeah, we got to double check. So,
Yes.
legalities and whatnot.
Of course.
If you go on there saying somebody killed somebody or
Right.
somebody
So I
did
want
something
them-
horrible.
I'm not saying it's not a story. I just want to make sure that our news department vets it first.
Correct. Yeah,
So.
we can't just go off half cocked. We have to be full cocked before we go off.
Always full cocked, Brian.
Oh, Frank, you're
Wow.
preaching to the choir, buddy.
Always. And to answer your question, yes, right at 9.
Right at 9. Okay.
Okay.
All
Yeah,
right.
which is why last night I was like, oh, I better find that info and get that sent out.
Yeah.
And it's
Well, I
only
mean,
7
it's-
minutes or so to be quick.
No, yeah, and it's part of it'll be recapping what the whole thing is.
Yep.
Which what we talked about last week, and
Yeah. I just think it's interesting that we actually have a bill now.
yeah, no, I think maybe they were listening.
Perhaps.
We should see what day we had that interview, and if it coincides with the next day a bill being
Yeah.
presented.
Did you by chance see that I pulled some of when for anybody on the live stream, you know what's coming up in the show. With the NIL info, I pulled some of the he sound from
Yeah.
that day
You
he
did?
joined us. So, yeah. Yes, I did.
Yeah, that's now there wasn't too much update in that, but
No.
there was a little bit
Right.
of movement, so that was good. But again, it helps to just keep those things.
And boy, live stream, you're in a treat because Ron Johnson, he was on a roll yesterday. He had a big day. Not for any of the right reasons, but he had a big day.
Are there any days where he's doing it for the right reasons?
Well, no, but he had a really big day yesterday. I mean,
Yeah.
like he was fully on a scorched earth, gonna tear it all down. I don't care about my constituents at all kind of day.
Love it.
So we'll get into all
We
that
love a
this
good
morning.
Rojo story on
We
this
love
show.
a good Ron Johnson story. You know, honestly, though, if you think about it, the Wisconsin legislative contingent is serving in Washington is the gift that keeps on giving. Because they've made it very clear that they actually don't care about what happens to anybody here in Wisconsin. They're going to make sure that they carry out the administration's bidding.
Well, of course.
The bidding.
But poor Derek Van Orden will never get a handshake
Aww.
from Donald Trump at a State of the Union again.
Oh, man. That's a shame.
Sometimes when I'm sad, I just watch that video over and over.
That's who does that say more about, Van Orden or you?
Me.
All right.
But it does make me chuckle for a second.
Yeah, but you can't tell me DVO doesn't like lay awake at night thinking about that.
Right, which is why it makes me chuckle.
Like, is he in the doghouse? I need to know.
I don't know. I think maybe he thinks he and the Prez are a little bit tighter than they are, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
What have you done for me lately, Derek?
Oh, speaking of Hegseth, he's at a podium again. Now he's got a tie on with flags on it, and he has a flag pocket square.
First of all, that's why all his pictures look stupid, because he dresses like a clown.
You got 10 seconds.
All right, well, I'll say it again. He's a clown.
Want to join in on the conversation? Call or text 855-75-CIVIC. Now back to Brian and Jamie.
7:06 right now. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're listening in Appleton and Oshkosh on WISS, or in Wausau on WXCO, or even in Eau Claire on 93.5 The Tap, we are glad that you're here. And Brian, we would be remiss this hour if we did not remind people to go get the Civic Media app, because on Monday is the day. In fact, Monday at this time, we will be giving you a chance to qualify for cash and prizes through our multi-state text-to-win contest. There
Cash
you go.
and prizes. I like
cash
both
and
of those
prizes.
things.
I know, me
and
too.
you'll like them too. And this is a good weekend to have that app, because the weather is supposed to be dicey at best. So while you're not listening to us or our podcast, which you can find on the app, you can always check out the weather. You can check out the music stations. You can do all of that. So download that. Then if you're thinking, well, I can't go outside, I might as well just stay in with my laptop and perhaps scroll social media. That would be go to Facebook and Instagram and go to look for Daybreak with Brian and Jamie, and you can follow us. And there's a lot there, or there will be a lot there. We're building it because we just started. But we'll be doing all that too. So check that out, and we appreciate the support. Yeah, we do appreciate the support. I may sound flippant about it, but that's because anytime the man tells me what I have to say, I get a little I bristle. So
we're kind of old too, so social isn't really our thing.
Speak for yourself. I'm an Instagram. I manage like 3 Instagram accounts. I'm all over. I love it. I love Instagram.
I actually don't mind social media for keeping up to date with things and with people. It's the whole act that I have to deal with the other people who I don't really want to sometimes, right? Like, that's what makes social media hard.
Well, on social media, my life looks exciting.
Fabulous.
I'm doing so many things. I'm out and about. I'm a gadfly. And then, but in real life, no. That's right, Parker. I said I'm a gadfly. Look that up too.
I want to be at home.
What that is.
I want to be at home, and I don't want anybody to bother me. That's essentially what that means to me.
That's right. And just like Pete Hegseth, I'm very critical of the pictures, the selfies I take of myself. So I have fired myself. I've banned myself from my own accounts. It's very tricky how I do that. Well, this is news. I can't even throw an adjective on it like the administration. The administration has launched new investigations into foreign trade practices, a move that could lead to new tariffs on imports later this summer, which, again, according to the president, other countries will pay for. The fact is, you pay for them. The announcement comes after the Supreme Court recently ruled that many of Trump's previous tariffs were unconstitutional. That doesn't stop him, forcing the administration to find new legal pathways or not. and they'll
I kind of
just
wish
do it
something
anyway.
stopped him at this point. But the new investigations will be conducted under, oh, this sounds very official, Section 301 of the 1974 Trade Act. That's a
my
law
favorite
that
section.
Right? It's a law that the U.S. had previously used to challenge unfair trade practices by other countries. Now, while they're examining this, what they're really looking at is manufacturing policies in more than a dozen countries, including China, the European Union, Japan, Mexico, South Korea, India, Vietnam, Taiwan, and several others. All places where our goods happen to be made, by the way.
Yep.
Officials say that this investigation will focus on, quote, structural excess capacity in manufacturing, essentially meaning countries may be producing large amounts of good with heavy government support that undercuts American industries. And according to the administration, subsidies and trade barriers in some of these countries are making it harder for U.S. companies to really compete or even sell their products abroad, which contributes to the long-running U.S. trade deficit. The administration also argues that tariffs are needed to protect American manufacturing jobs and push other countries to trade more fairly. Here's a fact. Manufacturers don't want your tariffs, and a lot of them are suing you because of your tariffs that were deemed illegal. And many of these companies have had to lay off several employees, maybe in some cases tens to hundreds, depending on the size of the company, because of these said tariffs. But again, digression. We dabble in the facts here. I know sometimes it's hard.
Well, everybody can look at this and say, boy, this is not working out the way that you said it was going to work out. And I don't know where all this money that you claim is coming in from tariffs is coming from, but it doesn't seem to be coming from the other countries, because then they're imposing tariffs on us, and things are just getting worse. But
yeah,
reality doesn't come into play here. And so they're doing everything they can to try to look, because if these tariffs go away, what does that prove? That he was wrong. We've already talked about this in many other cases, not only this morning, but every day. He will not admit to being wrong.
Right.
He will not admit that he had no idea what tariffs were, and that finally the people caught on to what tariffs really were. Most of us have figured this out because we've listened to every economist, every businessman. We've been paying more for goods that are brought in. So we, who didn't really understand tariffs, now we do. Now we get it. And the basic thing is we pay more.
Right.
So he can't fool us anymore. And when he can't fool us anymore, he's going to desperately try to find anything that, even for a short period of time, he can hang these tariffs on. They may get ruled unconstitutional again, but then he'll just have his legal team and just find something else, because we cannot go down.
But here's the other question. And again, I don't disagree, because this administration is hell-bent on tariffs. I mean, they are hanging their hat on this come hell or high water. But it could also be about something entirely different. Policies that ultimately benefit the president, his inner circle, and his wealthy donors. It could also be about that, because we know that some of these wealthy donors are passing on the money to basically passing on the tariffs to American people, and some of them are still creating some sort of profit. And so there is that part of it too. And look, here's what I'm going to say this morning, Brian. When Donald Trump came into office, the economy was not perfect even under Joe Biden. Yes, it was doing much better than it is right now. I won't deny that. But it also was not perfect. It was in a very precarious situation, and it was kind of teetering right there on the brink of it could become really, really good with the right president, or it could become what it is under this current administration. But the Biden administration, they did leave some serious challenges. Donald Trump, though, campaigned on America first. He talked constantly, and he still does, about creating the strongest economy the country has ever seen. So here's the question, and especially if you were somebody who supported him, that I have, legitimately have. Are you actually better off financially right this very minute than you were under Joe Biden? I mean, that's a question that I keep coming back to, and I don't know. It
depends on who you ask. If you ask coal shoppers, obviously they're going to say no, if they're honest. If you ask some people, sure. I heard the Dow was up. It's back down. But there's a certain group that's their self-interest is tied to how much they're making. It doesn't matter. I'm doing okay. I don't care if the country is burning around me. I'm doing all right. I'm making more money. I'm profiting from this. And we know that when Donald Trump says America first, he really means me first.
Yeah.
He is the one. He and his family have been making loads of cash over the last year, while you and I are struggling and deciding, well, how many nights this week can we have meat with our dinner? And man, I was gonna take that trip just for fun, but gas is so expensive. All right, I'm not gonna, or I have to plot out everywhere I go so that I can try to squeeze in as many trips close together as possible. So we're not doing better. He's doing great.
Right.
And his
Making
friends are
billions.
doing great. But
Yes.
the rest of us, so if you're still believing the America first and that we're going to be better, I envy you, because you must live a whole different life than I do.
Right. And I think there's another point to this that really, really bothers me when you look at what's happening in Wisconsin and you see how people are struggling. Our Republican representatives just continue to fall right in line with these policies, right? And we're talking about our lawmakers like Ron Johnson, who made his fortune in manufacturing and knows exactly how tariffs impact businesses. There's Representatives Brian Stile, Derek Van Orden, Tony Weed, and Glenn Grothman. They get out there, they say that we want to help Wisconsin. We want to do all of these things better. We want to make life better for you. And they don't, because they understand how these the consequences of these tariffs. They know that manufacturers right here in the state are being completely squeezed right out of profit, out of potentially jobs for employees. But instead of pushing back on what this administration does, they continue to support the agenda that a lot of businesses say is actually hurting them. And I think that bothers me the most, because they absolutely know. And at the end of the day, they're doing absolutely nothing to make sure that life here is better for the state they represent.
You used a key term when you started talking there. You said he made his money.
Yeah.
Ron Johnson made his money. He doesn't, whatever. He's set. When he's out of the Senate, he'll be able to go around and get paid to give speeches and make a talk, do talks and things like that. Those guys are set. They don't need to worry. And they'll come back and they'll do, they'll pay lip service to their constituents. Unless you're Derek Van Orden, then he's going to tell you, if you don't agree with me, then don't vote for me. And my fingers were crossed. I like, God, for the first time, I hope people listen to him.
Right.
But that's me. That again. But they don't. There's no real concern. The divide between and this sounds like I'm being literary or I'm being dramatic. The haves and the have-nots is getting wider. And even the people who still have a little are starting, the little they have is getting smaller. And if you have a job and you have a place to live, and yes, groceries are more expensive, but thank goodness you can still afford to eat.
Right.
You don't feel as bad. But then there is that, for every person has their own trigger, their own tipping point. And that, when summer comes and maybe you were going to go up to a place in the North Woods and you have a boat, and suddenly your jet ski or your boat fuel costs so much more that now you can only go out on the lake one day because you can't afford to do it for 3 days. Everybody's got that trigger. So, but then there's people who don't have to worry about the trigger.
Yeah.
And
just for the record, Brian, these new tariffs that the administration is trying to push through would also replace a temporary 10% global tariff that the administration imposed using yet another law. That was Section 122 from the same Trade Act. The temporary tariff can only remain in place for 150 days, meaning this administration wants permanent tariffs ready before it expires. So this investigation is going to move quickly, and it's going to include public hearings and discussions with trading partners before decisions are finalized. But remember, you're already a few weeks into this already, so what are those public hearings going to be like? It's going to be like kangaroo court, because they're going to be pushing through so fast to make sure they get through this deadline. And by the way, all of the Republicans from the state of Wisconsin already said that they'll support whatever this looks like.
Before they even hear anything. And we've talked to small business owners on this show who have told us how rough it is for them because they're the ones paying. And the longer these kind of things go on, the more small businesses are always on the brink anyway. So the longer this goes, the more danger of small businesses going under. It just
right. And the legal challenges are going to continue because there's several companies that we've talked about right here in the state, all across the country, that are suing this administration for that first round of tariffs that the Supreme Court deemed illegal, and it's going to just continue. So, again, why so hell-bent? Maybe just bend. Maybe just say this wasn't the greatest plan.
They should get bent.
7:19 right now. You are listening to Daybreak on this Friday morning. I'm Jamie Martinson.
And I'm Brian Noonan. Swiper Stay is next on the Civic Media Network.
Yeah, Brian Steele was on, I believe, Fox Business yesterday, and they asked him, he was there to tout this new crypto plan that he has and stuff. But then they asked him, they said, well, what about the tariffs? He's like, I completely trust the president. If the president says that's what what? What are you talking about, you buffoon?
I'm envious of Trump in one way, that somehow he has the ability to convince all these people to blindly follow him.
Right.
I don't get it.
I really don't understand.
Huh?
So we should lie more.
See, that's the thing, Frank.
Get listeners.
I feel like we're too truthful.
Yeah, I think that's the thing.
We should do no truths, all lies.
All lies, baby.
All lies. Maybe that's the new show. Maybe that's what's finally going to get people.
It's worked for Fox for years.
Ooh.
It worked for Rush.
It has.
Whoa.
It
Well,
has.
File is not news though. They're entertainment industry.
The who is?
All
Fox.
radio is an entertainment industry.
Yeah.
That's true.
Supposedly.
You could be
I don't know.
info.
We'd have to ask our Infowars.
God.
Have to ask our listeners. Are you entertained?
You're not entertained.
Yeah, see,
That's right. Simpatico, Frank.
we are.
Frank, I hold in front of me all the whiskey notes.
Ooh.
Look at you. I'm excited.
Well, because I can't smell, and I'm going to, I will give that full disclosure. If I do go into the nose, or maybe I just make a mockery of those kind of reviews, I go, I'm not doing those reviews.
Jamie, can I send this to Max to edit?
Check with him. I think he's free.
Okay. I don't need anything crazy.
We've got 15 seconds left here.
Whatever, Parker.
Wow. Yeah, Frank, exert your control.
Yeah.
Let's break out of the bubble and see what's happening out there in pop culture. It's Swiper Stay on Daybreak.
7:22 right now. Thank you so much for joining us. Happy Friday. Oh, it is one of our favorite parts of the day because we get to not talk about the politics of the world for just a moment and focus on some other subjects that are a whole lot more fun. It is time for Swiper Stay. Our producer, Frank, joins us. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing today?
We're ready to roll. We need some
Friday.
Friday
We made
pop
it.
culture, brother. Bring it.
Attitude, I like to hear, Brian.
All
So
right.
Swiper Stay, I'm going to read some pop culture headlines. Brian and Jamie will have to decide whether to stay on it and hear more or swipe on to the next story. We're going to go to story number one. Ticket websites have really been in the news. A company's internal messages have been released, guys.
Oh,
Boy,
let's
I
stay.
always love these stay.
Dirt.
These are great.
Have you guys heard of this yet?
No.
No.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I love it when we can make
It's a
it happy.
win for Frank. Oh, no, Frank, you muted your
Hey, Frank,
microphone.
You're muted.
StreamYard.
You're
Frank,
muted.
you're muted.
You muted in StreamYard, Frank.
Oh my God, Frank!
Oh, yeah, she can't hear us.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
Oh,
We
This
can't
is-
hear
Oh
you.
no, we
no
can't hear
audio.
Frank.
How about now?
You're muted.
Now-
there
There
we
you
go.
go.
We didn't
Sorry.
hear any of it.
I saw you had a cough, and then I
My
was.
board just completely died and revived itself. Okay.
All right, so we heard
right.
none of that except that you were excited that we're doing this story.
I'm excited we're doing this story. So
Okay.
Live Nation, aka the Darth Vader of the entertainment industry, confirmed what we all suspected after their internal messages were released. A Live Nation employee mocks customers as, and I quote, so stupid, and says the company is, again, quote, robbing them blind, baby.
Wow.
These messages have been made public as over 24 states weigh whether to continue their antitrust trial against the entertainment industry with Ticketmaster and Live Nation. They said the employees were discussing Live Nation's price for access to the VIP area of a show in Tampa, Florida.
Wow.
How does that make you feel right now, knowing that most of us have had to buy our tickets through a ticketing website, right, that is associated with Live Nation? It should make all of us feel really awful about our life decisions and the fact that we just love to go to live shows.
Yeah,
Because, I mean, what?
Well, I tried to buy some tickets the other day, and I looked at the fees, and the fees were and I was buying a lawn seat. The fees were as high as the lawn seat. I'm like, what?
Ooh, what show?
John Mellencamp.
Oh,
Cougar?
Mellencamp's the best. Yes.
Yeah. But now the place I was going, now they started charging for parking, which they never did.
Oh,
now
yeah.
they're charging an exorbitant amount for the lawn chair that you have to rent because they don't let you bring in your own lawn chairs anymore. And then they have all these special tiers and pricing. And I just want to go sit on the grass and listen to him do all his hits. That's all.
Right. Wow.
Ryan, just so you know, it would take the second coming of Led Zeppelin to get me to the venue you're talking about, but that's just between you and I.
Really?
They go on to say, the messages go on to say, these people are so stupid. I almost feel bad taking advantage of them. And then writing in all caps, bah, ha, 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 ha. Now, if that's not grounds enough to continue this trial,
Right.
Keep that
I was just
lawsuit
gonna
going.
say.
we are being taken advantage of. It's right there in front of our
Wow.
faces.
All right.
Holy bucket.
So-
Story
Okay.
number 2.
One Best Picture nominee is giving some trouble.
Giving some trouble.
For Oscars this weekend.
Oh, I think I think I know what. Yes, let's stay. It's
Let's
Oscar
stay.
weekend. Let's stay
Yeah.
for Oscar
Yeah.
You
weekend.
think you know.
But do I?
It's not real trouble. It's giving Conan O'Brien some troubles.
Really?
He's having
Interesting.
issues. So the Oscar-nominated movie Train Dreams is giving Conan some issues, writing jokes. As you know, the host always writes jokes for
Yes.
the movies. Here's what he had to say on Jimmy Kimmel.
Can't get a good joke for Train Dreams, which maybe means there is no good joke for Train Dreams. And let me ask this audience, who has seen Train Dreams?
Go live.
Okay.
Let's do it again.
That's 8 people. No.
So Train Dreams is about like a lumberjack in the Northwest, and it's a very serious movie. So
Okay.
he goes on to say that they've written about 5,000 jokes, and not one of them is good.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a
Okay.
bad batting average.
Be interested since you are a comedian yourself. and
I don't
had
think
to
I've
write-
written 5,000 jokes in my entire career.
You also don't have a team to help you
That's
write.
true.
Yes.
That's true.
Parker's
Wow.
next assignment will be helping Brian work on his stand-up routine.
No, that's
No, that's
Oh, he doesn't need my help.
that's not going to happen.
so
Just
we'll,
sees a disdain on his face. He's like, no.
absolutely not.
Neither of us want that to happen.
No. I haven't seen this film, but now I'm going to have to watch it.
Yeah.
Next story, Frank.
A key player becomes a Packers rival.
I'm going to
Swipe.
pass just because it's
okay.
me, Parker.
Swipe.
Oh, Jamie swiped.
Cartoon
Swiped.
character
That was
gets his own spin-off.
Oh, stay. I like spit-offs.
Sure, I'll stay too. Why not?
Stewie Griffin is getting his own show.
Yay,
Might be too much, but all right.
Fox has ordered 2 seasons already of the show
Wow.
Stewie, set to begin next year.
Does Stewie move out on his own? Or?
Well, I'm glad you asked.
Thank you.
Okay.
I have
'Cause
the
he is
write
just
up
a
here.
baby.
This is a quote from Fox. After getting the boot from his old preschool, Stewie is forced to enroll in a new one that's not exactly top of the line. It's attended by a handful of kids he doesn't know and a 75-year-old class turtle with a half-cocked theory on just about every subject. Stewie's miserable, the other kids are miserable, and even the turtle is miserable until Stewie begins rolling out his trusty array of devices to take them anywhere in space and time, turning every boring day at school into an insane and surreal adventure.
It's like the magic school bus for the warped adults.
Basically, one last thing
love
before
it.
we wrap up. I'm excited. Stewie's like my favorite character of all time
Love
for
Stewie.
cartoons. Seth MacFarlane says, even though they're doing this, this will not interfere with any new Family Guy episodes.
Nice.
right.
So
I love
Stewie
it.
goes home after the day.
Correct.
Onto another show. Nice.
I love
Well,
it.
thank you, Frank. Have a good weekend. We appreciate
Thank
another
you.
fun week of Swiper Stay.
Thanks. Good talking to you guys.
Always a pleasure.
I'm leaving now.
All right, bye-bye.
It's 7:29 right now. I have to say, my kid's a lot like Stewie, so I can always get down with Stewie. Coming up,
He tries to kill you?
Coming up, we're going to talk a little weather and a little Ron Johnson on the Civic Media Network.
All right. We have Mace here. Good morning.
Good morning, Mace.
Morning,
Hello.
Mace.
Hi.
How are you today?
Oh, slow, but okay.
Fair enough.
Well, Jamie knows 4 pets, 3 dogs. It wasn't
Yes.
a sound sleep when the wind is howling and banging
No.
and yeah.
Well, we appreciate you joining us because this is going to be a doozy of a storm.
Yeah, it sure is. Although they've brought down your amount substantially. So
Ooh,
that's good.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
But that's still, 9 to a foot as
Yeah.
opposed to the 20 plus. But
Oh my
you may
God.
have freezing rain first. So, Madison, I'm
Oh.
talking. But
Gross.
Lovely.
yeah.
Well, we will go live here in about 4 minutes or so. So we'll talk through that, and we just like to get people in here early so we can make sure audio's working and stuff
Of
like
course.
Yeah, you sound awesome.
Sure. Good. Okay, great.
that. He is a radio professional and TV professional.
Yeah.
Professional.
Got the pipes.
I don't know
Bringing
about
the, bringing the
professional.
tones.
Oh man, far from professional.
Then you'll fit in perfectly here, Mace.
Great. I get to call you Jamie.
I know.
I don't have to think. It was always like when we were
No.
on before. I was like, Maddie.
know.
Okay, that's great name,
know.
but boy, I'm not used to calling
It was
you.
hard. It was
Yeah,
hard.
this won't be hard. This will be perfect.
God, because just so Brian and Parker know, how many years? A long
It
time.
would be whenever Corey went back to Weather Nation. So is that 12, 13?
13 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
12,
it's
13
been-
years.
And then Mace is like super instrumental in all of Severe Studio stuff. And then he was also he and his wife Kim were also partners with us when we had the station in Baraboo. And now he's also helping track Baraboo. And he also helps with all of the UP, getting all the stations in the UP
Holy
right now.
cow.
So
They're all still on the air somehow this
They
morning,
are,
Jamie. The storm didn't take them off. We're on.
it's very precarious up there, isn't it?
Mhm. Oh man, like nowhere I've ever seen
They're a
for
dedicated
radio.
They're a dedicated group of people, though.
They
so-
are. They're awesome people.
They're
It's just
awesome.
wow. Those stations have been through something.
Those stations were unfortunately neglected for a long time, so it's good to see it's good to see them getting some life back in them.
Yes, yes.
And Joel's been awesome. Oh my
Oh
gosh.
my goodness. Yeah. No, if we didn't have him going forward, I'm just fixing stuff. If he
Yeah.
wasn't going forward, it would be trouble.
Joel's been amazing. So, been a lot of work.
Yes.
As a lot of Civic Media purchases have been, but worth it at the end. Like I think of Ely, right? Like Ely's such a fun story.
You and I were making fun of Corey Ely, mainly me, when he first brought it up. I'm like, what?
And that's been such a powerhouse of a little station. Terry and Trader Craig up there, they are just incredible.
Well, yeah, that's what you don't know. You just look at Ely and go, huh.
Yeah.
But then you don't see who's coming with it. And
Yeah.
wow. Yeah.
And what a love for that station that community has. It's
Amazing.
been incredible.
Amazing.
So if you want like a true radio story, Brian,
Mhm.
Ely, Minnesota is where a true radio story is at, because those stations were the FM isn't even completely 100% done because of winter and we can't get crews
Yeah.
up on the tower to climb the bays. to put the bays up, but they were basically dark when we took over, and people were so sad. And so the fact that the whole community is behind the resurrection of these stations
wow.
and so excited. It is such an incredibly fun story. And I'm excited because when we're able to put bays up, we actually want Max to go up and do like a full video.
Yeah.
Like almost like a documentary of the revival of Ely.
That's cool.
Because it is such and it's so important to the community. And we've gotten so many emails and things from people who are just like, thank you for bringing back our radio station.
Wow.
So, and in fact, Trader Craig was so well loved that they were so excited he was going to be back on the air. We were pretty sure the day he signed back on, we were going to have a bunch of people do a Trader Craig, and just kind of escort him onto the air because there were so many people so excited he was coming back to do a show. It was cool.
That's wild.
We've got 15 seconds till we're back.
One of a kind place. Oh man, that's a picture.
Local voices, statewide impact. It's Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
It's 7:35 right now. Thank you so much for joining us on this Friday morning. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And I'm Brian Noonan. And if you want to get involved, 855-75-CIVIC, 855-752-4842 is the number. If you're living anywhere in Wisconsin, first of all, you know it is crazy windy today, and I know that's a scientific term, Jamie. I'm up on all my meteorological jargon.
I love it.
It's crazy windy, and then it's supposed to snow horribly over the weekend. I'm too put out to even talk about it. Thank God Mace Michaels is not. He's the Civic Media and Severe Studios meteorologist. He joins us now to give us what can only be described as the most horrific news I've heard so far this spring. Mace, thank you for being here. We do appreciate the help this morning. How bad's it going to get? Let's just start right there.
Are we talking Storm 1 or Storm 2? Storm 1 is almost through, so I guess.
Okay.
Storm
Well, let's
2.
go Storm 2. That's anticipation is our biggest problem here.
Sure. Storm 1 here again is almost done, so that's the good news. But expect a howling wind through the rest of the morning. I saw your peak gust was 45. There are spots in the state that have been above 50, but not great. Just crazy wind.
Are we going to lose that before the snow comes?
Yes.
Okay,
The gusts should start to back down through the rest of the day today, but still a lot of spots are in high wind warnings. So just take note. You're really going to be having quite a breeze here throughout the morning.
A sidebar, mate. So what causes that? What causes the winds to go from, every little wind is fine, but all of a sudden to get 40, 50, 60 mile an hour gusts? And I know this is probably something I'd need a semester or 3 of college to, but if you can boil it down for a dummy like me in about, 12 seconds.
Sure. Quick version. This is an intense low, very strong one. Jet stream is very intense along with it. If you looked at the satellite, it's really wrapped up as a curlicue, and it dropped across the Dakotas. It's one of those clipper type lows streaming across Minnesota and now into our area. The pressure is so deep and strong with it, and it kicked out the high from yesterday. A lot of pressure change, and when you have a lot of pressure change, especially in a short amount of time, the way the atmosphere releases that is wind. So there's your short version. It probably wasn't 12 seconds, but close.
No, it was very good. It was thorough, and it did explain it. Thank you.
Great. Now, I'm the one who did the sidebar here because we haven't even gotten to Sunday yet. Sorry.
Storm 2. Here we go.
Let's go. Storm 2. We got to know what's coming for us.
Yeah. The hard part is exactly the track, and then there's going to be mixed moisture in southern parts of the state, but an intense low. Instead of one coming from the northwest like today's, this one will be moving in from the southwest. A lot of strength like the one today. The difference is it will have a significant amount of moisture, and as it moves to the northeast, just to our south and tracking close to the area and up through the Great Lakes, it will bring amazing amounts of snow, and over towards the lake, it will have a lot of lake enhancements. So it will be one of those record setter type snowfalls for sure.
So I know the lines on this one, depending on where these systems fall, is pretty sharp. But I know it's so hard to predict. But what are we talking for ranges across the state?
Yeah, I was chatting with many of folks yesterday, and you could have variances this far out. And again, that's yesterday, so it's an additional day, but
Sure.
3 days out, where we would see, some models kept it all snow, and you'd have 20 inches in some areas or more. And then others would be, I think there's going to be a little more warm air. There could be some rain, freezing rain, sleet. That would bring your snowfall total down to maybe 5 to 10 inches, but you could have a half an inch ice.
Ugh.
So the water content amount isn't changing. Half an inch to an inch of just pure water, if you melt everything down, will be brought up with this storm. Does it fall as liquid? Does it fall as a mix? Does it fall as all snow? Madison area, it looks like it's going to be a lot more of a mix, starting more as a rain, snow, sleet, or maybe initially snow, then transition to rain, sleet, and then back to snow. Again, estimates in the 5 to 10 inch range of the snowfall side, maybe up to a foot. But the problem is how much ice do you get before that and after that? A lot of it may be sleet. That's not as bad, obviously, as freezing rain, but still that mix is in there. You venture maybe towards Baraboo, Oshkosh, northward up towards Wausau, Green Bay. That's going to be all snow. And we're, talking in the get out the yardstick type measurement thing, a foot in many areas or more.
Mace Michaels is our guest. He's a meteorologist at Severe Studios. You hear him here on Civic Media. Mace, we're used to springtime snowstorms. Is this an average kind? It sounds much bigger than recent spring snows that we've had.
Oh, it is. This is one of those you see only once a decade type.
Oh, wow.
I think I can't. Last time I think of one that did this 20 plus inches, widespread area. There was one 5-6 years ago, and then we didn't have anything after that for a long time. I mean, I can't think of anything. So they're usually those decade to a dozen year type storms.
And it's going to get cold for the start of next week following this too, right?
Yeah.
We're going to see a drastic plunge from 70 almost this Monday to I saw a high of around 18 on this coming Monday, correct?
Yeah, I was just going to say that Madison high on Monday's 20-ish. And I mean, I also don't want to say there won't be any wind. I mean, the storm is going to have wind. It just isn't going to match today's wind. So throw that in there, and it's your full on blizzard type storm, in some areas.
Well, Mace, we're glad we're glad you joined us. Join us when the weather's nicer, and we'll greet you with more of a hero's welcome as opposed to today, where it's like, oh no, Mace has news, and this is not going to be good.
Yeah, no.
But we don't blame the messenger.
No.
We just we blame Mother Nature.
We just
and her
don't like
moodiness.
Mother Nature very much right now, but we appreciate your time, Mace. Thank you for giving us an update. And I guess everybody hunker down for the weekend because it doesn't sound like you're going to be doing much.
Plan ahead. That's my thing. Plan ahead now.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Well, thank you, Mace.
Thank you,
appreciate
Mace.
it.
Have a great weekend. Wow,
Oh.
that is
That doesn't
unfortunate.
sound fun. No, that is unfortunate. You know what else is unfortunate, Brian, here in this state as we
Nice segue, Jamie. Nice.
As we look at our representation in the state of Wisconsin, I told you if you were listening to the live stream, we had a little bit of Ron Johnson news, and here we go. Are you excited? I'm excited.
Yeah, I've been going through all the facts and the craziness and complicated measures of a filibuster is kind of mind-melting. But I am trying to figure out the differences between the talking filibuster and a different kind of filibuster. And Ron Johnson just wants to eliminate the filibuster altogether for good reason if you are a Republican, because they got to get the votes.
They do have to get the
They don't
votes.
have them, and they're afraid the Democrats are going to prove to people that this is a bad idea.
Well, absolutely. And the discussion is happening as the Senate prepares to take up the Save America Act. Majority Leader John Thune, I should say, said it'll probably be sometime next week. This is that Republican-backed elections bill, and it is expected to face strong opposition from the Democrats. This was actually what Senator Johnson had to say on Newsmax earlier this week. Let's hear from Ron Johnson, please, Parker.
The problem is that Democrats have shown us their hand. When they get power, they will eliminate the filibuster. I think that's, almost without dispute, I may be wrong, but I think that's really the fault line in the Republican conference. So I'm sympathetic with people that like to retain the filibuster. I don't think it's going to be retained once Democrats gain power. So I agree with President Trump. We ought to end it now. And when we do it, we're going to do it for the benefit of the American people. We will secure our border. We will secure our elections. We'll do it for greater prosperity for every American. When Democrats do it, it'll all be about obtaining and maintaining their power. Turn D.C. and Puerto Rico into states, 4 new Democrat senators. Again, they will nationalize the elections and make it far easier to cheat so they can turn America into one-party nation.
It's all the stuff that you guys are doing now.
Yes, he's saying it out loud.
Right,
He is saying exactly what the Republican Party is trying to do at this very moment in time.
Your president said that he wants to nationalize elections.
Yes.
You're telling us the border is secure now because of your all these things that you're accusing Democrats of. Every accusation is a confession. Every one with these people.
Absolutely. Now, if you don't know, the filibuster currently requires 60 votes in the Senate to move most legislation forward, which means bipartisan support is absolutely needed. And Republicans only hold a simple majority right now. So they don't actually currently have enough votes to pass this bill if Democrats block it. Some conservative senators had suggested that talking filibuster that you brought up, which would force Democrats to physically hold the Senate floor to delay the bill rather than simply blocking it procedurally, which means you might see another guy like Hakeem Jeffries or
24-hour
or Cory Booker. I'm sorry.
Cory
Booker
Booker
was the one that did the 24-hour. This is where you get into those talking filibusters where Nancy Pelosi, that infamous story, she stood on the floor in those 6-inch heels for hours on end. That's the talking filibuster that you're referring to. This idea has run into resistance from other Republicans who worry that Democrats could use this process to essentially stall the Senate for weeks or months before the midterm elections. Yes, the SAVE Act is going to very much change the midterms if it is allowed to pass, because the president is going to greenlight it, sign it immediately. Johnson now says that the Senate should hold a vote to eliminate the filibuster entirely, mainly to force lawmakers from both parties to go on record where they stand. Johnson, though, does acknowledge, Brian, that there's likely not enough votes to actually eliminate the rule. But we're going to spend our time doing this instead of real legislation.
Right. Well, because while we do this, we can still get our accusations and talking points out. We can spread more misinformation about what the Democrats want to do when they when they take power, which is a telling thing. Very telling when the Democrats take power.
Yes.
The writing is on the wall. So they're very nervous about that because even though they say Newsom can't read, they can read. And they're reading the polls, they're reading the opinion pieces, they're reading their constituents' letters and emails. They can read and know what's happening. And so now it's all hands on deck trying to make sure that they can get this thing jammed through and keep as many people from voting as possible. Keep the right people voting and the wrong people from voting.
Yes, absolutely. And I guess as somebody who lives in the state of Wisconsin, this irritates me to no end. And it goes back to something we were talking about earlier this morning, if you joined us, about Wisconsin representation doing their job. Because Ron Johnson right now could be focusing on the bigger issues. He could be putting up some resistance to tariffs. He could be putting up some resistance to some of the immigration policies to maybe, I don't know, make life better for the people who put him in Washington, D.C. Instead, this is what Ron Johnson is essentially spending his time doing. Some no-nonsense filibuster ending movement that he knows isn't even going to pass because when the Democrats take office, we don't want them to have too much power. All of it is so... It is such a tell this morning if you're listening to what he is saying and why he's saying it. And he's right. I mean, let's be honest. Well, he's not right, but the other Republicans who object, they don't want the Democrats to have this power because what's good for them, for the
That's
Republicans,
It
is
all
also
comes
good for
around.
the Democrats. Yep.
And this is how history has worked in this country. Whoever's in power calls the shots, and they're all short-sighted. because they call the shots thinking they're always going to be in power. And as we've seen through the history of this country, nobody stays in power forever. And as much as this administration wants to stay in power forever, they're not going to. We're going to talk to Mandela Barnes
The guy
after
who
this,
could
Jamie.
be representing us in Washington.
Well, he might be representing us as governor. Who knows?
Might. 7:48 right now on the Civic Media Network.
All right.
Oh, I forgot to get a photo of Mandela.
Oh.
I have one right here.
Okay.
Will it give us enough time?
Oh, plenty.
Okay, let me. You want me just to throw it into chat?
Yeah, sure. That'll work.
Okay. In our morning chat or the Why Are We Up chat?
Whichever tickles.
Okay, I'm going to throw it in here quick.
Is John Fetterman becoming the new Susan Collins, who says all the right things and then votes the opposite? Because now he's saying he will not back the SAVE Act in its current form.
Oh, come on. Seriously? Why did that not save?
Oh.
God.
Does it matter? Do we have rights to a specific photo of him?
Just any good JPEG quality photo. Because I was looking on his website and they're very posed. I just had one. There it is.
Oh, I need to get the lower third ready first.
Okay. JPEG. Here we go. Yes, please. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, we haven't even mentioned that it's Friday the 13th.
I know, right? I just realized that too.
That's like the second one of those we've had.
Yeah, I
Wasn't
think
there in January? Or maybe it was February. I don't remember.
I want to say it was February. I'm looking at my Parker.
I think
it
you're
was
right.
in February 13th.
Yeah, because it was Monday was the first day of
right.
Why is this not working today?
Parker, this will make you know how old I am. Even though I have all my calendars synced and stuff on my
Okay.
phone, I still
Yeah.
keep a small paper
Here you go,
desktop
I like that.
calendar.
Thank you. I like that actually, Brian. I prefer paper usually.
Because I can look at it and it's all right there.
So we've got a lot of people chiming in this morning. If you're listening on the text line or on the stream, John from Oshkosh saying, "Dang it, I just put away the snowmobile, but left the snowblower accessible at least." Good thinking, John. He's listening on WISS in Oshkosh. We have Mark talking about the Save America Act, complete violation of the 14th Amendment as amended by the 15th, 19th, 24th, and 26th Amendments. Yes.
Stop quoting the Constitution.
We don't believe in the
believe in that.
Constitution. And then we've got Lynn from Golden Valley. Honestly, a side topic, given the AI cameras, Trump's data collection, the USA should just bite the bullet and introduce a national ID card, which the feds need to fund and supply. All of our data is linkable into some place. Oh, we
got 15 seconds here. I'll put up the logo so you guys aren't on camera here.
Oh, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Parker.
Now back to more of Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I am Jamie Martinson, and you're listening to the Civic Media Network.
Good morning, I'm Brian Noonan. You know, here in Wisconsin, your electricity bills continue to rise at a rate faster than 8 other Midwestern states. In fact, they've exceeded regional averages for the last 20 years. And active and proposed data centers could raise your rates even higher. Now, you know Mandela Barnes as the former lieutenant governor. He's now a Democratic candidate for governor, and he has pledged to freeze utility rates if he is elected. He's here now as our guest to explain how he's going to do that. Mandela, thanks for being here. We do appreciate your time. So how did Wisconsin get in this position, and what is your plan to change this?
Well, we have a long track record in this state of allowing our utility companies to become monopolies and to ultimately be able to get over and escape most forms of accountability and responsibility to ratepayers. You know, when you think about the fact that these utility companies are publicly traded, the interest isn't the ratepayer, it is the shareholder. And that is the problem right now. There's shareholder and executive pay. And that's exactly why we've gotten to this point where the average ratepayer is being taken advantage of in such a way, and it has happened for so long, that they come to expect government to respond to them with any sort of request that they have. And that has been the case. And I can tell you that's something that has to end immediately, because as costs continue to rise for people all over the state of Wisconsin, all across the country for that matter, Wisconsin has to show an example of what it means to govern responsibly and hold large utility monopolies accountable. And that's why my plan to freeze the rates will take on these greedy monopolies who continue to exploit people across Wisconsin. As you mentioned, the rates are going up, but we also see some of the highest profit margins in the entire country as well. I think it was about $1.6 billion in net profits for We Energies last year.
Wow.
And people are seeing their rate spike up to $300 a month.
Utility companies, Mandela, are saying that these rate increases are usually tied to the fuel costs and the infrastructure upgrades. Obviously, we know that there's other things attached, as you were just referring to. But how would this plan that you're proposing balance keeping those bills down and still maintain the grid?
Well, I can accept that, there are capital expenditures, of course, for sure. We need our grid to be strong and reliable. But at the same time, we see executive pay skyrocket as well. And that's why my plan calls for capping executive pay so they can have some money left over for those capital expenses. And we'd also ban ratepayer dollars from being used on lobbying and other political expenses. Our money shouldn't be used against us to charge us more money at the end of the day. And also, we are calling to end that revolving door that allows commissioners to become utility executives. I think that the goal of any PSC commissioner should be to protect the interests of the public, not curry favor with these utility companies in hopes that they'll get a golden parachute once their time is done.
One of the other things I found interesting about your plan as I was looking it over is the idea of stranded assets for these utility companies. And first of all, what are those, and how do you, in your proposal, deal with that debt that the utility companies have?
Well, yeah, you get these shuttered plants, these decommissioned plants, and the loopholes that exist have forced ratepayers to pay for those debts. So not only are you paying for the energy to be generated, you're paying for the debts of these shuttered coal plants just so they can rake in more money. It will be different. It will be a much different conversation if we're talking about struggling utility companies. When was the last time you heard of a struggling utility company? When have you heard of a struggling energy provider? You just have not.
Right.
And it is because we absorb the cost. We are struggling as Wisconsinites as we continue to pay higher costs and higher bills. The money is there. It's being spent in so many other directions. And I'm happy to work with, responsible utility companies and those who want to do the right thing by their customers. But that's just not the dynamic we're experiencing right now. And that's why we do need real leadership to step in and say enough is enough. As you take the politics out of it, obviously cost of living is top of mind for everybody, but we're talking about actual livelihoods. We're talking about the decisions people have to make every single day, whether to keep the heat on or how much food they're going to be able to put on the table, whether they're going to be short on rent or short on utilities and see their bills continue to rise. And there are some energy companies, across the country that are doing the right thing, that are acting responsibly and in the interest of the people. But here in Wisconsin, we are going to demand that our energy companies do the right thing. That's not too much to ask. Right. It's not a lot to ask for companies that are doing business and serving such a broad interest as utilities in energy, which everybody needs. It's not far-fetched to call on them to act responsibly and see the challenge that people are facing instead of handing out these large CEO bonuses. You need to give the people some relief. You can't just continue to charge these costs and put people out of a house and home.
We're talking with Mandela Barnes. He is the former lieutenant governor of Wisconsin, a current Democratic candidate for governor. I think if you're here this morning talking with us, we would be remiss if we didn't bring up data centers, because we're also seeing all these proposals all across the state of Wisconsin, which could dramatically increase the electricity demand, Mandela. So how do we make sure that everyday customers, as you're referring to, aren't paying for that infrastructure build for those companies?
Absolutely. And what needs to happen if there's going to be data center construction in this state, if we're going to develop these projects, there has to be a statewide study initially to address the energy usage, to address water usage, to address land use potential, air pollution as well, and all these other considerations that have come up time and time again at these town hall meetings. Now, the problem is people have long been taken advantage of by these large tech companies, the most profitable companies in industries to exist in the history of this planet. And what the data center feels like is a physical manifestation of everything they have done over all these years to sort of get over on us. And when people show up to town hall meetings, make their cases plain and clear about what their concerns are, and they feel like they aren't being heard, that's a problem. So we have to end these non-disclosure agreements. We have to have disclosures for project approval and construction. And there has to be ongoing public reporting as to what that usage has been. If they can't adhere to these simple set of standards, then I don't see a way where they should be developed and constructed.
Well, Mandela, thank you for joining us today. Mandela Barnes, former Lieutenant Governor of Wisconsin, now Democratic gubernatorial candidate. We appreciate your time today. Good luck with the campaign, and we'll talk to you again.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
This is the Civic Media Network.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth giving an update on the war with Iran from the Pentagon, saying,
between our Air Force and that of the Israelis, over 15,000 enemy targets have been struck. That's well over 1,000 a day. No other combination of countries in the world can do that.
Hegseth also says Iran's new supreme leader is wounded and likely disfigured. His comments coming after Ayatollah Mustafa Khamenei released a written statement vowing to continue the war. 4 of 6 U.S. crew members on board a KC-135 refueling aircraft were killed when the plane crashed in Iraq. They are still searching for the other 2 crew members. CENTCOM says the incident was not due to hostile fire or friendly fire, but that the plane was involved with another aircraft, which did land safely. The mayor of West Bloomfield, Michigan, says the man who rammed his car into a synagogue yesterday had lost 4 family members in an Israeli airstrike in Lebanon last week. This is ABC News.
This report brought to you by Chad's Design Build, a full-service residential remodeler providing thoughtful, sustainable, and well-built spaces since 1992. Chad'sDesignBuild.com.
With Civic Media News, I'm Stace Keene. Forecasters say a winter storm is shaping up to have a big impact throughout the state this weekend. A winter storm watch has already been issued for nearly all of the state of Wisconsin as the potential for heavy snow Sunday into Monday continues to grow. While forecasters say it's still a bit early to determine exact snowfall totals, the current setup makes it seem likely that parts of central and northern Wisconsin could see up to 8 inches or more snow falling Sunday into Monday, with blizzard conditions possible at times. Now, if you do have plans to travel over the weekend, you're advised to carry extra supplies in your car.
All right. Looks
We're
like
back.
we have got Nick here.
Good morning, Nick.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Nick.
Morning.
Thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
There's only a few things to talk about as far as travel goes.
Yeah, it's, a little bit outside the normal.
My goodness. So what are you thinking, Brian? Obviously focus on gas and then maybe what's happening at airports for people as well.
Yeah, the gas, I'm trying to open up my...
Anything else that we should be focused on in this conversation, Nick?
That's probably the biggest story is just, but, and even within that, just, what can people do about it? What can people worry about it? I mean, we try not to make a lot of predictions about, what's going to happen beyond just like general direction of prices. Are they going to continue going up or down?
Right.
But I mean, the question everyone wants to know is how high will they go? And
well, that was basically my first question.
Yeah, there's really no way of knowing.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. And pronounce your last name for us, just so we get it correct.
Jarmus.
Okay, that's what I thought. Always like to double check myself, though.
Oh, I like to see what people come up with. I'm never offended. It's been 45 years.
What's the worst one you've ever got, Nick?
Oh,
Jarmooses.
a lot of people. Well, Jarmoose, yeah, that's a pretty common one. Some people just, it's the Z that freaks people out. They see the Z lingering there, and they're like, I don't know what to do with that, and it's pretty.
That's funny. Oh my goodness. We have just a couple minutes here.
Yeah, we got 2 minutes left till we're back here. Nick, just so you know, I'll give you hand signals when we're down to our last couple of minutes. How many minutes we got left? And if you start to hear music towards the end, that means we just got a couple seconds. So we got to wrap it up.
Okay.
So, awesome. Thank you.
I feel like today's the perfect day to start thinking about like warm weather trips though somewhere, because this is going to be a horrible
see what
weekend.
you think after we have a foot of snow.
Just so I know, so I'm pulling up the right. Do you guys cover statewide? Is this a statewide perspective? Oh, okay. I'll just bring up the statewide averages then. And
Yep.
Yeah, that map on your website was very helpful.
Yes.
As I was looking at things.
All right. We will be back in 20 seconds here.
Local voices, statewide impact. It's Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
It's 8:06 right now. Thank you so much for joining us today. And good morning. You are listening to the Civic Media Network. Some winter weather headed our way. So if you are out and about today with those high winds, or even if you have plans to travel this weekend, please take it easy. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And I'm Brian Noonan. Remember to gas up the snow thrower because you will need it come Sunday. You won't be driving, which is good news, because if you have been in your car over the last couple of weeks, it's impossible not to see how much prices have jumped since the war in Iran started. On average, drivers are paying 20% more than before the strikes began. And according to AAA, the average price for a gallon of gas is $3.63 nationally, $3.32 here in Wisconsin, which, as hard as it might be to believe, is one of the 10 least expensive gasoline markets in the country. So, spring break travel time is here. No end in sight for the war. How bad are things going to get? Nick Jarmus is the Regional Director of Public Affairs for AAA, and he joins us now for an update. Nick, thanks for being here this morning. I know you guys don't make predictions, but based on the past and based on things you've seen and that AAA has tracked, is there a point, no matter how long things go, that will be the tipping point for gas where we've never seen it go above X?
I mean, that is possible. I wouldn't rule anything out. Right now here in Wisconsin, we're sitting at about 332 as our statewide average, and that's still a full $1.60 off of our all-time high of $4.92, which was set back in June of 2022. So we've still got a lot of running room before we get to unprecedented prices.
Okay.
The point we're at right now is pretty much where we were at this time back in 2024. So nothing that anyone hasn't seen before, but unless something begins to change soon, we're probably going to continue to see that go up. How high it goes and how steep that trajectory is, depends a lot on factors on the ground.
For states like Wisconsin, where people do rely heavily on driving, I mean, we have some very rural areas, not a lot of public transportation. You can't do the drive share in some of those areas. What kind of financial impact do these higher prices have on Wisconsin travelers compared to states where they do have more public transportation, say?
You know, I don't know that I have any data to quantify that. I mean, certainly if, you know, but, you know, public transportation tends to have more fixed prices. You know, it becomes a problem for those transit agencies because they're purchasing fuel as well. And so if the prices are higher over an extended period of time, there's a greater chance they'll be adjusting their fares to accommodate for that. But, you know, just based on what we see people in terms of changing their habits, we really don't see people changing their habits until prices get well above $4 a gallon. And even then, back in 2022, when we saw the all-time record high prices, we still saw year-over-year increases in the number of people taking road trips and summer vacations. You know, people factor it in and they figure out a way to make it work. Maybe they'll try and reduce some of their day-to-day driving by, you know, combining errands or just adjusting things. There's also a number of different tips that we have for people to increase their fuel economy to help offset higher prices. But, you know, it is a burden, but it's not something that necessarily changes people's habits until we get well above where we are right now.
Nick, you mentioned the prices being similar to the spring of 2024, and we know, we talked about this the other day, that this is the time of year when gas prices usually do go up incrementally. What similarities are there to what was going on in spring of 2024? And do you think part of the shock is that it's just the gas prices have jumped up so fast in such a short amount of time?
Yeah, I mean, when you take all other factors out and the, you know, global events and things like that, we typically see this sort of trend where prices begin to go up at this time of year. They peak in the summer months, you know, when you have the maximum number of people out there on the roads, both on a day-to-day basis as well as taking their summer vacations. And then prices come down in the fall and, you know, kind of bottom out in the winter. So we were already seeing prices begin to go up a little bit even before the conflict began 2 weeks ago. But certainly that has exacerbated it and really spiked up the prices well beyond what they would have otherwise. There's no way around that. Even if the conflict were to somehow end tomorrow and the straits were reopened and things started getting back to normal, we may see, you know, the rate of increase go down. We may even see prices come down a bit. We probably won't see them come down to what they were before the conflict started, just because there still is going to be that seasonal supply and demand, you know, or demand side of the equation that's going to push them up a little bit at this time of year.
We're talking with Nick Jarmus. He is the Regional Director of Public Affairs for AAA Wisconsin. And as we're talking here this morning, you just mentioned that, you know, even if the conflict ended today, things would maybe come down. How long does it usually take for those markets to balance out? I mean, I know this conflict is fresh. We don't know when there's an end sight right now, but how long does it generally take for things to balance out once, we'll say maybe normalize or stabilize, maybe a better word?
You know, it's difficult to say in general because every situation is unique. And it's important to remember, you know, in this case, the increases in prices we're seeing domestically at the pump, you know, are not a reflection of any shortage of gasoline that we're facing. It's because of the global oil markets. So, you know, there are a number of different factors that go into what the price we pay at the pump and disruptions along any segment of the supply chain, you know, internationally or domestically at refineries or at pipeline distributions can impact things. But the bulk of the price that we pay is a direct reflection of global oil prices. And right now we're, you know, sitting around that $100 a barrel mark. And that, you know, how quickly that comes down is going to be a reflection of not just how much, you know, change in the status quo there is, but how confident the markets are that change is durable and going to continue in the right direction, and that it's not some sort of temporary blip or temporary reprieve.
Speaking of temporary reprieves, the administration announced they're going to release 172 million barrels of oil from the strategic reserve over 4 months. Is there any way that amount then trickles down to the consumer where we might see, a few cents come off? Or is that such a drop in the bucket as to what we really need that it's not going to change anything for us?
I think it depends. What's probably more likely is that will help kind of stem the tide, and it'll slow, if not maybe kind of stop the increases. I don't think it really brings the prices down unless we see some sort of a quick resolution or quick change to the status quo. I've seen some oil industry analysts put that at about a month. That whatever impact this release has buys us about a month, and if nothing has changed or gotten better in the supply chain by then, we're going to be kind of right back to where we were and talking about whether there's a need for another release or some other solution.
Well, beyond the fuel, I guess would be a question I would have. Will we start seeing higher prices in other parts of travel? Will obviously airfare because of jet fuel? I'm assuming that will go up at some point, but I'll defer to you. But I'm also thinking hotels, rental cars, because of these rising energy costs.
It's possible. As you said, jet fuel is probably the biggest factor. And so, if you haven't already booked your airfare for summer plans or spring break plans that you're planning, I would go ahead and lock that in as quickly as possible. The chances that they're going to really significantly come down anytime soon are low. So the sooner you get that book, probably the better deal that you'll get on that. Other prices aren't as directly impacted by energy costs. I mean, certainly hotels have to heat, but I mean it's summertime, so it's not as big of an issue. There could be some impact on that, but again, even when we saw prices higher, it's not always a direct reflection of do higher prices discourage people from taking trips. People find a way to still take a trip, and there's still a huge interest in traveling. What we'll see is people adjusting their travel plans to accommodate for those higher prices. So maybe they'll drop a day off their trip as a way to save money, or maybe they'll alter destinations. They'll stay at a less expensive, a 3-star hotel instead of a 4-star, or do more fast food along the way instead of sit down restaurants, things like that. That can accommodate, especially if you're talking about road trips and automobile based travel. Even at record high prices, fuel costs are still one of the smaller portions of your travel budget. And so it is one of the things that you can adjust and absorb by making other changes in your travel plans.
Nick Jarmus is our guest. He's Regional Director of Public Affairs for AAA Wisconsin. When we talk about gas prices, people with electric cars go, well, thank goodness I have an electric car. I don't have to worry about that. How are those people faring when it comes to charging costs across not only Wisconsin, but as you get out in the rest of the country?
Well, we are seeing average EV charging station costs going up, certainly not to the same degree that we seen gas go up, but electricity still largely is dependent upon fossil fuel generation in this country. So there's sort of a indirect impact. The amount of costs that go into generating that electricity is going up in a lot of places. Because remember the Straits of Hormuz. There's not just oil that's flowing through there. There's also natural gas that comes through there. And again, it's not something that we consume domestically or import from there, but that is also a global market where disruptions in supply chains anywhere around the globe.
We're losing your connection, so unfortunately we're going to have to let you go, but we appreciate your time. We appreciate the advice. Nick Jarmus is the Regional Director of Public Affairs for AAA Wisconsin. Nick, thanks very much for being here. Have a great weekend. It's probably the winds. The winds are messing with everybody's internet today and getting everything crazy, but we appreciate it.
We appreciate
and
you.
Thanks again, Nick. Well, this is it isn't great news, but it's I forgot that we got up to almost $5. I know that was going to be the tipping point when that was happening. As I think back, people were like, I'm not paying $5. I'm not paying $5. And now we got close where it was getting close to $2. So all of a sudden for it to jump again. But we do have to remember last year it was about the same price. This is the time of year where gas always goes up a little. It doesn't make it any easier, but it does. It's just like I said, it's happening so fast. That was the thing. 2 weeks ago, gas was almost $1 cheaper.
Yes. Yes, and Tiffany in River Falls chiming in this morning, listening on 93.5 The Tap out of Eau Claire. She says in River Falls area, it's about $3.49 a gallon right now. And I think the big question, as Nick alluded to, is where is the I don't want to say bottom because we're not going down. Where is the top, right?
Yeah.
Depending on where this conflict, how long this conflict continues to play out, considering we don't know when it's going to stabilize. I think that's going to be the real question is, will we actually max out where we did in the past, or will there be some sort of resolution before then? Those are the underlying questions.
Oh, well, we have an update on our NIL discussion from the other day. That's exciting. We will get to that after this, and we've got a whole lot more to cover in the final hour of Daybreak. I'm Brian Newman.
I'm Jamie Martinson. It's 8:19. You are listening to the Civic Media Network.
All right.
Yeah,
Sorry
that
about
got all of a sudden
it
it just it went from fine to.
It started before we went on the air, and I was like,
for like 10, 15 seconds, it was doing that before he came on, and I was like,
we got a good majority out of that though, so it worked.
Yeah, we only lost 2 minutes.
Yeah,
so.
We're good.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, I would have. Yeah, dumping out though was better than because that was hard to hear.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm glad you put that in the comments because I was just gonna do it.
Yeah,
but at least you knew it was coming, so you were able to.
Yeah, I was holding out hope that it would fix itself like
I
it
know.
did before.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But then it would cut out completely too. It was like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, that sucks.
Boy.
Yeah, this
well, we
weather
got
today is gonna
like
play-
you said, we
Yeah,
got
we
most
a majority
of it. It was,
The only thing I wanted to wrap up with is if you're traveling by air, anything like movement with the lines? Is there anything we can do about airfare or air travel right now? But
well, they've reinstituted what was it? What was one of the pre-check programs that they had gotten?
Yeah.
They
Global
brought
entry,
global that. Yeah, they brought that back. But Debbie bought a ticket the other night because she's got to go out to Pittsburgh for one of Molly's showers, and
it's a weird thing to go out for.
Well, she's a kid. She needs help with her back. There's spots she can't reach. And I don't know what your policy. We don't let her shower with her fiance. They're not married yet. There's no wedlock.
Wait for marriage. I see.
That's right. Wait for marriage to get your back scrubbed. But the point of the story was that the airfare jumped from, she booked it on like at night one day. The next day it was up already. I was like, oh boy.
Yeah, Corey's getting ready to book trips for NAB in Las Vegas, and
a friend of mine I just talked to, they live in Florida anyway, and they usually can fly. It's a 45-minute flight
15.
usually to New Orleans.
he's cutting us off.
10 seconds.
That's it.
It's part of my job. I'm sorry. Blame the clock.
Make sure you enunciate.
Wisconsin wakes up here. Back to Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
What a great song this morning. It's 8:22 right now. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're listening in Richland Center on WRCE or in La Crosse on WLCX or even Wisconsin Rapids on WFHR, thank you so much for joining us on Daybreak. I am Jamie Martinson.
And I'm Brian Noonan. Wherever you're listening, it will be so much more fun and you'll feel so space age if you download the free Civic Media app. Yes, come into the 29th
now
century.
with it hip like you're, one of
Yes.
the cool kids.
Oh, man, it's free. Don't cost nothing. You get that app. You can listen to our show whenever you want. You can take us wherever you want. You can listen to podcasts. That's fun. You can get updates on the weather, which will come in handy over the weekend. And then if you're like just so depressed by the news and the weather, you can listen to some music from one of our fine music stations. It's all in one. And did I mention, don't cost nothing. So get it. It's
we love
free.
free stuff. We love free stuff. And also, you're going to want to have that app Monday morning because, you know, you're going to have a chance to qualify for some daily cash prizes and also a grand prize with our multi-state text to win contest. It's going to be a good time. And I'm telling you, you're going to want the app because that's the only way you can qualify for. I'm going to tease this even a little bit more, Brian.
Wow, all right.
$200 in cash is what we're giving out daily.
Every day?
Every day, somebody is going to
Just for
win
like one
200
day, though, right?
No, every day for
Every day.
for 10 days. $200
All right.
in cash is what people can
You
win.
do the math, Parker.
by-
That's a
and
lot.
the app
That's
is
at
free.
least $200
The app
a
is
day.
free.
The app
So-
is free. The
Yeah.
$200 is a gift if you win the multi-state. Multi-state, more than
Yes.
one. Don't get upset. There's going to be more than just you entering, but you can enter if you have the app. Wednesday, on this very program, we are at the cutting edge of all things cultural and newsy. We had a conversation about Assembly Bill 1034. That sounds official. That had moved on to the Senate for approval, but what the bill would do is place policies in statute and provide funding to help the University of Wisconsin navigate changes in college sports, allowing student athletes to make money off their name, image, and likeness, or NILs. There's been a little bit of movement since Wednesday. Here's what Tim Sheehy, the former president of Metropolitan Milwaukee Association of Commerce, had to say when he joined us earlier in the week.
If we don't modernize the law, it handicaps UW-Madison and other NCAA schools in Wisconsin from dealing with their student athletes. They want to require third-party disclosure so they know what the student athletes are doing. They want to bring the law in Wisconsin in line with what the NCAA was requiring. But I think the most interesting and important piece of the legislation is it provides $15 million to UW-Madison and then a couple $100,000 to UWM and to UW Green Bay that they can use to support their student athletes. In other words, the money goes in to relieve debt service on athletic facilities, but it frees up money for the universities to deploy towards their student athletes. And, everybody says, oh, this is about the football players. Well, it is in part, but football revenue accounts at UW-Madison for about 80% of the athletic department revenue. That revenue supports another 600 student athletes on 12 women's teams and 11 men's teams. So it covers a wide range of support for student athletes. And then importantly, there's the economic impact that comes from that. If you look at just UW-Madison, I think some 2 million visitors accounted for $750 million in economic impact. So it's not only a competition issue for the university, but it's also an economic development issue for the state of Wisconsin.
And a little shameless plug there, Brian. If you want to hear more about what Tim had to say, if you're watching this bill, go over to civicmedia.us, check out all of our podcasts, and you can definitely get more. Right?
Yes.
But this is a fascinating bill, and I'll say this: there is a lot of gray area, I think, for me personally, with the NIL and through the NAACP. But according to written testimony, a little background on what we're talking about here, starting in fiscal year 2026. This settlement will add an expected $20.5 million in annual expense to the UW-Madison athletics budget to cover the cost of the revenue sharing requirements. And that settlement allows the schools to then pay athletes up to an annual cap that starts at about $20.5 million per school in the 2025 through 2026 and increases every year, potentially reaching over $32 million by 2035, which is... wow. And I'm all for student athletes, right? Because some of these programs are built on some of the top student athletes. Some of these programs are built on the name recognition alone. You even look at like the U.S. women's hockey team, who had many, many Badgers on them representing.
And I'm sure their replica jerseys or sweaters rather are selling very well with those players' names on them, and those players deserve a little taste. Now, an update on what's been happening. The Joint Finance Committee voted on Tuesday, 8-5, to concur in the bill. No debate on the bill. There were a number of senators voting against it, both Republican and Democratic senators that voted against it. The Senate Government Operations, Labor, and Economic Development Committee also voted 3-2 via paper ballot on Wednesday to approve the bill with Bradley and Senator Chris Kampenga from Delafield in opposition. 4 Republicans oppose it. The bill likely is going to need Democratic support to pass in the Senate. So we will keep you updated on that because it will be a big boon to UW sports in general.
Yeah, and not just to UW.
Not just
think
to
about
Madison.
And to think about the economic impact it's going to
Yes.
have all across the state when you're
Correct.
talking jobs, tourism, people coming in to eat when they're at those games and visiting those venues.
Right.
All of those things play into this, which is what Tim
Field
was
better teams.
Yes, yep. Tim was referring to that when he joined us earlier this week, how it will be an economic boom for the entire state. So,
Jamie,
a
we're-
win-win.
It does sound like a win-win. What I don't understand is after the break, we're going to talk about something that I think is just a made-up term. I don't know who thinks affordability is a thing.
Not
But
Ron
the
Johnson,
Senate,
surprise.
no, they're going to pass a housing bill to improve access and affordability, even though that's a myth. Affordability is a myth. I don't
right.
know.
I
It's
told you.
Daybreak.
I
I'm
told
Brian
you Rojo
Noonan.
was in the news.
Rojo's in
it's
the
8:29.
news.
I'm at Jamie Martinson. This is the Civic Media Network. Oh, Rojo, never on the right side of history. And I always think it's funny because I love that he always comes out. A lot of times he comes out. I shouldn't say every time, but he'll come out in just a little bit of opposition. It was like last year with the One Big Beautiful Bill, right? Like he was completely in opposition to this bill. He went on all of the right-leaning media and basically said the bill will destroy manufacturing. This is not going to work. And then it turns out that the reason he didn't support it was because it didn't go far enough, but then he greenlit it like nobody's business and didn't even have to wait for several reiterations, just voted right through. And I was like, why do we fall for this every time? That might say more about us than it says about Rojo, that we fall for it every single time.
Yeah, he's not a surprise. He does what he says he's going to, or he follows the same pattern.
He does.
We just decide to.
Mr. Plow King. It's Friday. Put the full version of Ingata Davida in and head home early.
Mr. Plow King, I wish. I would like the last half hour of Friday to just be drinking games.
That's right. Oh, boy. That'd be fun.
Would be fun.
Frank, work on that. We need a sponsor.
Yeah. We could co-op Rokan's old Canarba wagon and have.
That's right.
I know. I'd be like that was at 6 o'clock on a Friday, so it made a little more sense. But 9 o'clock on a Friday morning is all right.
It's fine.
You can't drink all day if you don't start by day drinking.
That's right. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, as the old saying goes, right?
It probably is.
It's not an old saying. That's a very current statement.
It's been around a while, Parker.
Okay. Well,
you're a
Let me
current
just-
statement,
let
but
me just-
that saying is not.
It's still well in use. So
Oh,
I did
yes.
phrase that wrong.
Yes. You're young, though, so it probably is new to you.
Man, can you believe somebody just thought of that? That's hilarious. Our generation is so smart and witty.
I like that one.
Tickle the funny bone there, Parker.
My work here is done. Jamie, check with your mom, see if I made her laugh already. Then I'm punching out. You got Parker and your mom on the same day.
That's right.
I'm glad it's a weekend. I'm leaving on top.
Is there anybody else? It would be like a trifecta.
I'm sure.
God, I would
Frank-
hope somebody else who's listening laughed.
Does
at least
Debbie
once.
laugh at your jokes, or does she just roll her eyes?
It depends. Most of the time she rolls her eyes, but I do get off a couple that catch her so off guard. It's like when I catch Parker way off guard, that she does laugh. She also sometimes just can't believe that
Yes.
Like that came out of my mouth so fast and so weird. And
Yes.
you know.
I see. Corey's very funny. He's like underlying funny, and he does the same thing to me. I'll be like, "What?" So here's a fun little tidbit of information for everybody listening on the live stream today. Thank you, by the way.
Yeah.
Pete Hegseth and General Dan Kane had another press conference today, where Pete Hegseth said in a briefing that Iran's new supreme leader has been wounded and likely disfigured.
Yeah,
I heard that on the news at the top of the hour.
Yeah.
How do they know he was likely disfigured?
It's
Pete's
probably a guess because he didn't have a audio or video from that statement yesterday.
Well, neither did the Ayatollah hardly ever.
Yeah.
The Ayatollah was everybody always thought the Ayatollah was dead because nobody actually knew because they kept him so under wraps. They're not going to, in the middle of a war, as the new regime leader, they're not going to trot the kid out and just put him on video all the time. They're going to have him so under wraps right now that it's ridiculous. Are we just saying that because I feel like there's no actual indication that this is happening? They just want us to feel better about what's happening, so they look like they're showing strength and might again.
Well, yeah, it's.
How would you know? You don't know. You don't know. You won't even allow photographers in your press conferences. You could
I
be
didn't
disfigured.
say he was disfigured. I said he's likely disfigured. It could be. Maybe he's not.
He's
you know who knows? God. This is a holy war, and if God was really good, he would disfigure that man.
You're going to cut me off. I have a good quote.
I'm sorry.
Now back to more of Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
It's 8:35 right now. We hope that you are having a great morning. Of course, keeping an eye on the weather as the winds continue to. I'm going to use the worst word because I hate it when people say it because it's such howl. They're howling.
I was
across
wondering
the
if that's where you were going to go.
I don't want to because I wanted to use something more witty, but just like this presidential administration, nothing else was coming to mind. So I trotted out the same word everybody else always does. But they really are truly howling. And so please take it easy out there today. Keep an eye on the weather if you do have travel plans this weekend. The winds are just the start of it. Obviously, watching a system come through that could dump a whole lot of snow on us. I know John in Oshkosh chimed in on the text line this morning from ISS saying he was very disappointed that he'd already put the snowmobile away with, potentially a foot of snow in some places. Yeah. But he does still have the snowblower out. So that's good. That's accessible.
Yeah, if you've put that stuff away, get it back out. This is storm. When we talked to Mace earlier, Mace Michaels, which is I'm sure that's a radio name, right?
Yes.
Okay, I was going to say that's his mom and dad didn't give. That's not his government name.
No,
but he
I'll
was
tell you
very
what
good.
It is off the air.
He was okay. It's Herman Melville. No, that's somebody else. Anyway, I don't know why that came in. But the point of the story is this was storm number 1, and that's going to dissipate pretty soon. Storm number 2 is the one that you're going to have to worry about, and it's going to bring not only a terrific amount of snow, but then low temperatures, low wind chills. It's
maybe some freezing rain as things fluctuate and change. So we're going to get
and
a whole
you know
mixed
what else
bag.
it's going to bring, Jamie? What I can't wait for. Ill-informed tweets from the president and his ilk going,
whatever happened to the global warming? That's a foot of snow there in March. That ain't that's I guess the globe ain't warmer where you are.
Shut up. Understand environment and climate, you clown. Anyway, speaking of clowns, there's your segue into a Ron Johnson story. But the U.S. Senate passed a major bipartisan housing bill by a vote of 89 to 10. It's aimed at making housing more affordable because remember, Parker, you won't remember this, but people like in my parents' generation, owning a home was the American dream, and if you worked hard and you didn't have to be rich to own a home, you could just have a good steady job, and you could buy a house, and you could live out that American dream.
You could have a home and shop at Kohl's all in the
Oh
same day.
my gosh! And you might be able to have a car, and your spouse could stay home.
Yes.
You could do all that with one income. Well, those days are gone. But now affordability has been under fire, that it's made up. But this bill is called the 21st Century Road to Housing Act. And lawmakers from both parties say the bill is addressing a nationwide housing shortage where home prices and rents have risen faster than many people's incomes, which, if you've tried to buy or rent something recently, is absolutely true.
Yeah, but trying to find housing right now is I don't envy anybody who is in that spot.
Madison is crazy expensive.
It is really expensive here in Madison. Now, this particular bill that was actually a bipartisan introduction of Elizabeth Warren and, oddly enough, Tim Scott, which I've never seen those two pair up, so I find that fascinating. But it would also expand how federal housing funds can be used, allowing more money to go toward building affordable homes as well as rental units. And what I actually particularly love about this bill is it gives local governments more flexibility to address housing shortages in ways that fit their specific communities instead of applying the same rules everywhere. Amazing how that works, because what works in rural Wisconsin probably doesn't work so well in Milwaukee and vice versa.
Correct.
So it's like there was a little forethought going into that. Cindy chiming in over in Appleton, asking, would a living wage help? Yes, absolutely.
Sure.
But baby steps, Cindy. We've got to get there first. And they could barely agree on affordable housing. There's no way the Democrats and the Republicans are agreeing on a living wage anytime soon. But another provision of this law would also allow banks to invest more in affordable housing projects, which supporters say could increase the supply of lower cost housing. It would also remove limits on some public housing programs, allowing more units to receive private financing through Section 8 to help repair and also improve aging housing. Anytime we're talking about affordable housing for people, I'm always going to be on board. I mean, we live in a time when, as you said, it has gotten to the point where there's a lot of people who literally have to choose between paying mortgages and paying bills or buying groceries or even medicines, because it's just gotten that out of hand.
And if you work hard and have, a regular job, you should be able to afford rent on an apartment. It doesn't have to be the best apartment, but it also shouldn't have to be in a crack house somewhere where you're worried about your safety every minute. This is the part I like, and it was the controversial section of this bill, because we've all seen this happening not only across Wisconsin, but across the country. The bill targets large corporate investors that buy single-family homes, which, according to some lawmakers, drives up prices and makes it harder for families to buy houses. It also makes it much harder to rent because these companies buy them. They have a monopoly. They charge whatever they want, and that's the deal. And it does artificially drive up those levels, because instead of being just you and your realtor trying to sell your house and you go back and forth and you can negotiate, you know how it all works. Well, now these corporate entities own it, and hey, you want to buy it, this is what it costs.
And what I think is fascinating is here in the state of Wisconsin, we actually saw the state legislature take a stab at this themselves, and it was on manufactured and modular housing, basically those lots, right? Where the same sort of thing is happening, where people are going in, they're buying it, and then all of a sudden, an affordable way of living, the manufactured or modular homes, all of a sudden your rent for your land, your spot that you rent, is double or triple what it was, because the same thing is happening in that faction of housing as well. So I agree. If we can get rid of some of the corporate money in even housing, I think that definitely helps. Under this proposal, companies that own 350 or more single-family homes would actually face restrictions, and they might have to sell some of those homes to individual buyers after renting them out for a set number of years, because you should not have a monopoly on housing.
No,
that is not something that should happen.
Now, Jamie, we mentioned at the beginning, this had something to do with Ron Johnson. I can only imagine he was 100% behind this bill.
No.
Oh.
Nope. No. Thank you. Thank you, Parker. Yes. This is being called one of the largest housing reform efforts in an entire generation.
Well,
and
then,
Ron
why be
Johnson,
on board?
Ron Johnson of Wisconsin was one of the 10 senators who voted against this bill. Now, mind you, The reason that Ron Johnson decided to vote against this bill is because of that corporate housing loophole that they are trying to close. He was not on board with the fact that we were not going to allow corporations to go in and just swoop up homes and allow them to buy, sell, rent.
So
he could
wait
not
a
get
minute.
on board with that.
Clarify for me, because sometimes I feel like I'm slow. So Ron Johnson has taken the sides of big corporations over average Wisconsinites?
Yes, that is correct.
Boy,
That is
I hoped I was
100%
wrong,
correct.
but I knew I was not.
Just like he's done in the tariff fight, just like he's done with the big beautiful bill in all of his votes there. He has sided with this administration, and he has sided with corporate America.
I would love to speak, and I mean this genuinely, to supporters of Ron Johnson. What makes this guy palatable? 855-75-CIVIC, 855-752-4842. And I don't mean that in a facetious way, and I'm not going to bombard you with, I hear this, and I read this, and I live through this, and I go, why do people support him? What has he done to better your life in Wisconsin, as opposed to, well, in the last race, it was Mandela Barnes who ran against him. So, but leave Mandela out of it. Just what has Ron Johnson done to make your life better? That, I don't know. Anybody's welcome to, if you have something, by all means, let me know.
I mean, right now, as we talked earlier in this program, if you joined us, instead of voting on this and putting some time and some effort into finding out more about this, finding out how this is a bill, how it could help actual families. Again, the largest housing reform effort in a generation. He is spending time going on news networks yesterday talking about ending the filibuster, even though he knows that's not going to possibly happen.
Right.
What? It doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't, unless you just go to the base level and say it's all about staying in power. Ron Johnson and the rest of the Republicans want to stay in power. Where in the meantime, home prices in Wisconsin have increased about almost 4% to nearly 8% over the last year. Some regions in this state, including southeast Wisconsin, have seen price increases around 10%. A year and a half ago, I was looking at maybe renting something in the Kenosha area.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, the prices were crazy, and no shade against Kenosha, but I didn't think the prices were in line with what was there.
And I think that's just it. That's what's happening, right? Because the housing inventory in Wisconsin is so tight right now, meaning there are very few homes available for buyers and even renters. So what you're seeing is these landlords, these companies, sometimes they're private, but they're adjusting to make sure that they can compete. And, honestly, if you're a private landlord and you're watching what the companies are doing, you're kind of like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it. I don't blame them one bit. But homes in Wisconsin...
I just think they're greedy, but
homes in Wisconsin are currently staying on the market for about 67 to 90 days on average before they're selling, which is, it's a long time. And here's the question. I mean, I'm going to go into back in my day, but we bought our first house when we were in our early 20s, right? Yeah. And not a great house, but we bought our first house because you got to start somewhere. It needed a lot of work.
And that was the thing. You had to buy a house. You bought a house.
We did, right? And even then, we'll be married 23 years this April. Even then, our interest rate was only at about 4%.
Yeah.
Right. And now you look at, if people go to try to buy a home now, I don't even know what the interest rate is because we currently rent. But I know that we have friends who are looking, who are somewhere in the 6.5% to 7% range, which at that point, it feels, with the price of the housing, and once you tack on your insurances and your escrows and all of that, it just feels out of reach. And you feel like all you're doing is working to have a place to live. And that's not how people want to go about their lives, even though you need a place to live. So it's obviously a catch-22 that they've got us in right now.
Well, we can thank Ron Johnson for backing. Oh, wait, no, again, he did not back us at all. He is one of the 10 senators who voted against the bill. We will follow the progress of this. And again, a very nice acronym, the 21st Century Road to Housing Act. So.
You know, hey, at least there were 89 people who got on board and somebody's trying to do something about it.
Yeah, somebody. And, you know, those 10, wrong side of history, but that doesn't stop those kind of votes from coming all the time around here. All right, listen, when we come back, it is time to start wrapping things up. We do it on Friday.
Yes.
It's we leave you with some uplifting stories, some happy stories. The Dairyland Diaries are coming, and it's a nice cross-section. No theme this week, but a nice cross-section of happy stories from around Wisconsin. At least we think they're happy stories.
They are. And we all need some happy stories right now because, boy, it's better than talking about Ron Johnson not wanting you to afford anything. It's 8:48 right now. You are listening to Daybreak. I am Jamie Martinson.
And I'm Brian Noonan, and this is the Civic Media Network.
Ron.
Before we get to the end of the show, is it Spreitzer?
I've got to look it up.
Or are we going to ask?
For
the pronunciation. For the senator.
Let me see if I can find
I forget we have,
Let me see if I can find like a news thing that he's been on quick.
Spreitzer.
I believe it's Spreitzer.
I believe it's Spreitzer, but
I do too. But
it is Spreitzer.
It is Spreitzer. Okay. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
From my many phone calls with the administration.
The voice from
Yes. Brian Noonan. The name you're looking for is Spreitzer.
Spreitzer. Thank you, Frank.
And by the way, Mace's real name, Roger Twig.
Twig. Great weather name. Why not keep that?
But his middle name is Mace. Roger Mace Twig.
Oh.
It's perfect.
So, yeah.
No, it's funny. I've never used a radio name, and I know a lot of people have used radio names, and I was like, that's a radio name.
Yeah.
No doubt that's a radio name. Yeah. And he does kind of have it. He has great pipes.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But he did have that radio intonation.
He started in radio when he was really young because he and Kim are, we're 48. He and Kim are probably in their early to mid 50s. So they're a little bit older than we are. So he started in radio way back in the day. And yeah, so been around a few places.
Yeah.
Most of his career he's from like up by the Bemidji area originally.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of his career has been like in the UP, Iowa. For a while, he did a stint in TV in Florida. So.
A journeyman.
Yeah. And then he and Corey met when they were working at Weather Nation together in the Twin Cities. So. And they have Yorkies. They are a Yorkie family.
Oh my gosh.
So they have four little Yorkies. They have 4 little Yorkies, and for a while they had 2 Mollies. Best story ever. Don't cut me off. The best story ever is that one day Mace says to Corey and I, he's like, they had 2 Mollies in the house, and Corey goes, "How do you tell them apart?" He goes, "Well, one's spelled with an I and one's spelled with an IE." And Corey goes,
God.
"Because your dog spelled that."
What is your dog writing checks?
He was like, "That was really stupid." We were like, kind of,
wow.
but okay.
Well, what's stupid is spelling it with just an I.
Yes.
Yeah, neither of them are a Y.
That's the way to spell it.
I-E and Y was.
I thought
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was just I.
No,
and
I-E and Y.
Our Irish aunts or relatives named Molly spell with an IE. Our Molly is with a Y.
All right.
She is not a dog.
Any final thoughts before?
No, that's fine. Cut us off. It's fine.
15 seconds.
We're going to milk this for all it's worth. It's Dairyland Diaries, a look at local stories around Wisconsin.
It's 8:52 right now. Thank you so much much for joining us this morning. Well, if that doesn't get you ready for a Wisconsin weekend, I don't know what will. I'm always ready for Dairyland Diaries. This is a great segment.
Dairyland Diaries, if this is your first Friday, we do it on Friday, last segment of the show. Kick your weekend off with, if not a laugh, at least a little smile. No stories about politicians betraying you. No stories about legal conundrums. Just stories that from around the state that make you feel good. Like the first one, Milwaukee County Zoo welcomes a baby greater kudu. I just like the way that's said. So the greater kudu family at the Milwaukee Zoo has grown. In a blog post, the zoo announced that Bashetta, a male calf, was born January 25th to mother Imani and father Hassani. The calf's name means born on Sunday in the Yoruba language. He weighed nearly 38 pounds at birth. In addition to nursing on his mother's milk, Bashetta has begun to taste hay and alfalfa, according to the zoo. He is the first kudu calf born at the Milwaukee County Zoo since his sister Chula was born there in August of 2023. Now, you might be saying, Brian, this is all well and good, but I don't know what a kudu is. That's why we're here. Native to Nigeria and surrounding parts of Africa, greater kudu are a species of large woodland antelope. Males have spiral horns that are nearly 4 feet tall. So congratulations to Imani and Hassani for the birth of Bosetta.
I love it. And now it makes me want to take a trip to the zoo, obviously, when the temperatures warm up and there's not a foot of snow on the ground. But in other stories from across the state in Dairyland Diaries, the winner and 2 runner-ups of the World Championship Cheese Contest, which was held in Madison from March 3rd through the 5th, have officially been announced, Brian. This is very exciting because we do love our cheese. 25 countries and 34 U.S. states and territories were represented in the 2026 World Championship Cheese Contest with entries submitted from across 148 different classes.
Who knew?
I didn't know there was that much cheese.
I didn't either.
Wisconsinites took home 45 first-place awards, followed by New York with 8 and Vermont with 7. I would be very disappointed if Wisconsin did not do that well at the World Championship Cheese Contest. Yeah. Now, there are a few companies that place best of class in the following.
Yeah, these are only, there's 145 of them. We didn't have a chance to list them all, so this is just a few.
So I'm just going to do a couple highlights. Burnett Dairy Cooperative of Grantsburg for provolone, mild and aged. There was also the Decatur Dairy Inc. of Broadhead for open class cheese curds.
Open class cheese curds.
Cheese curds. What does that mean?
Oh, they're so
What is an open class cheese curd? Nasonville Dairy of Curtis for open class cheese curds flavored edition.
All
and I love that. And the Lake Country Dairy / the Schumann Cheese of Turtle Lake for Asiago cheese as well.
Asiago's my favorite. I love
Asiago
hard
is such
cheese.
a good cheese. Love it. Love it.
Love good cheese. So congratulations to all the fine cheesemakers in Wisconsin for representing the dairy state as well as you did.
Hopefully there were a lot of crackers going around that weekend too.
Frank, if we're not live covering the World Championship Cheese Contest next year, you are fired.
Right? I feel like I want a taste test.
Shouldn't we both be wandering around eating cheese, just getting bloated? And then laying on the sidewalk.
And I have questions about open class cheese curds.
Yeah, is that just any cheese curd
cheese
running
place
around?
down there on State Street? There's some kind of cheese.
It's
like
Cheese
the big
World
wheels.
or something.
They got the big wheels
Cheese
in the
World.
window. Yeah, okay.
I don't know.
All right.
If that's not the name, it should be.
It
All
should be
right,
definitely
let's
the
go
name.
from cheese. What goes well with cheese in Wisconsin besides beer and bratwurst? Correct. Dr. Pepper flavored sausages are coming to America's favorite sausage, Johnsonville. And Dr. Pepper, they're linking up for a launch of a fizzy glizzy. You heard me. According to the Sheboygan Falls-based national sausage brand, in a press release, they said it is a culinary innovation, or is it a sign of the apocalypse? That debate is already underway. But one thing is certain, people are talking, and America is ready to take a bite. You could quibble with that last part of the statement, but I don't know. The sausage was inspired by Dr. Pepper's original 23 flavor blend. Johnsonville collaborated closely with Dr. Pepper to translate the soda's one-of-a-kind flavor into its time-honored sausage, an idea inspired by the brand's long-standing role as a go-to ingredient for flavoring and marinating meats. And probably a few bong rips in the idea room and went,
Sure.
dude, that's it, man. Dr. Pepper and a sausage. Glizzy. Fizzy glizzy? You heard me. A Johnsonville rep said, quote, reaction to the idea of a soda-inspired sausage has been a little polarized, but we hope people hang out, give it a try, and let us know what they think, love them or hate them. I will try it.
I was going to say, it feels like you got to try it once,
You
right?
got to have it. We got to do a cookout with some fizzy glizzies.
And now I want a fizzy glizzy involved in the Brewer sausage race during home games. I'm just saying, throwing that out there. But if finally, this is such a great story as well. Women's flag football is growing, and there are a number of Wisconsin colleges and even some high schools, as we've learned, that are adding it as a varsity sport. UW Oshkosh is one of at least 10 Wisconsin colleges that have added or even announced plans to add women's flag football, at least according to Collegiate Flag Football, an online publication tracking the sport's growth. I didn't know there was a thing, but I learned something in Dairyland Diaries. So the Oshkosh Titans opened their season on February 25th. Other colleges sponsoring women's flag football include UW Stout, Marion University, Ripon College, UW Parkside, Mount Mary University, Lakeland University, Wisconsin Lutheran College, Beloit College, and Bryant and Stratton College. Some of the schools are already competing. Others plan to officially launch their teams in the next few years. Women's flag football is also gaining momentum nationally, receiving the designation of being an emerging sport by the NCAA. It also is slated to make its debut at the 2028 Winter Olympics in Summer Olympics, I should say, in Los Angeles. The Titans dropped their first contest, unfortunately, to Aurora, 34-0.
Wow,
on
a shellacking.
February 25th. That was a shellacking.
A shellacking. But
that's okay. They're out there. They're competing. I love it.
I
love
do
a good
too.
game of flag football.
That's Dairyland Diaries for this week. Feel free to jump around all weekend with a little smile on your face. Jamie, we've done it again. We have completed an entire week of shows, unscathed, only physically, but not mentally. And we will be back to do it all again on Monday. Thank you for listening. Thanks for being a part of the show. Tell your friends, get the Civic Media app over the weekend, because Monday, the multi-state text to win begins.
Go like us on Facebook. It's the Civic Media Network. We're out.
Yeah, I forgot 5950. Oh, well.
Yep, me too.
You're good. I was a little late with the music, too, because it double-clicked and I didn't notice.
Double clutching, huh? That's all right. We're done.
You got all the new stuff over there. And
Yeah. I'm thinking about it so much, I was bound to not screw it up. But next time I'll surely screw it up.
You will, and don't call me Shirley.
Thank you, live stream.
Thanks, live stream.